Something. Oh, maybe. Possibly live.
Come on, phone. Come on, phone. Hey, we're starting on time.
Hey, are we live? We may be live. There is a chance that we are currently live. I hope so, because I am the RP Ginger. And what I am trying to do on this fine night is run the 40th session of Storm King's Thunder. Um, Dan is shaking his head that I am not live, which is a reoccurring problem here because unfortunately Google
Like, is it going to
Hangouts,
be somewhere? Is the video going to be somewhere other than on your webpage on YouTube?
it takes a moment to pop up sometimes, so it might be in
Okay,
the process of popping up. We will find out.
absolutely.
Well, and I know your stuff usually when it goes live, it pops up on my phone too.
Great to
And
know. So we
happening. Yeah.
potentially are not live. We are in limbo, where we are somewhere potentially in the internet, lost in
You're in
space.
the in between.
We don't really know. I'm going to keep yambling on until I can confirm that I'm actually live, so that I don't waste my breath. And I. Oh, you know what I think I did? I think I know what I did. Hold on a second. We're gonna end this. It's gonna work, guys. I believe. I believe it's gonna work. Mary gasped. Are we live?
That dog.
Oh, damn it.
I'm a sucker.
Damn it. All right. Hopefully we are live. Potentially we are live. If you are in the middle of this nightmare of an intro, that is because I am currently trying to adjust to the fact that Google Hangouts is dead. And now I am having to show off my inability to use internet and streaming programs properly. I do not see that my stream is online, but what we are trying to do is run the 40th session of Storm King's Thunder. I'm hopefully going to get a thumbs up from somebody that says, yes, Chris, you are live. But dramatically, everyone is shaking their head no, so I don't fucking know what's going on. I guess at the end of the day, it is recording on Dan's computer, so we can just take that for what it is, maybe? Possibly? I don't know. I'm just going to go on with it. Should we just go on
You
with
want
it?
me to record? You want me to record this?
It's already recording at the end of the day, so
Okay.
I don't really know. I don't really care. We'll have to just upload it later if it's not actually streaming. I'm just trying to dink around with it. Oh, see, it's private right now. Go public, you son of a gun. Huh. Your changes are being saved. Let's see if that works. Refresh.
Hey, live now.
Hey, we're live now? Are we? Are we truly live? Did we do it?
I have a title screen.
You have a title screen. That's exciting. I don't know.
I sees it too.
You sees it. All right. Hello, everybody. Dramatic entry. We are live. Apparently, it is I, the RP Ginger. I have said that at least 5 or 6 times now to these guys who are witnessing my ability to use the streaming program. So we're just gonna get
But it
into
might say also that the live stream is offline.
Live stream offline.
I see that the stream is
Oh, wait.
resumed. I see my picture.
Oh,
it looks really
I
terrible.
see.
Hey,
I see all of
hey,
your faces.
Hey, our faces are there. What is up, internet? This was the best, cleanest intro to a Dungeons and Dragons game ever witnessed on the internet. I am glad that we are here. Hopefully my voice is coming in clearly because I don't know how many times I've said this now, but we are trying to run the 40th session of Storm King's Thunder. That session is titled The Dreamwalker's Vision. We already did a recap just off stream, so we're not going to do that. If you don't know what's going on here and now, then you should backpedal and watch the last episode because that is very important for understanding what is going on. It's so in depth that it is important that you watch it. I'm just kidding. I'm rambling on because I didn't know if I was actually live or not, but I think we are. So I am going to try to continue. You guys start this adventure in Sarissa's room, and I'm going to share the map, and it's hopefully going to pop up on the stream and everything. We're using new technology here. We're getting to the best. We're innovating Dungeons and Dragons on this channel, I think. But you guys are in the room with Sarissa and the 4 of you, and you currently have just recently finished her speech where she said that you guys are now her knights of the Converging Storm, and you are going to get to the bottom of the mystery of the missing King Hecaton. So she brings you off down into her room, and you see her whale Laboon currently swimming in his big ass pond as he comes up, and you hear her say, "Laboon, not now. We're currently discussing matters of great importance, my friend, and he kind of slaps his tail into the water, creating a big puddle dramatically as apparently he is hungry. What are you guys doing? Because that was a really jarring intro for me, so I'm going to let you guys say some words, and that'll be good. Do that for me. Anybody, somebody.
Yeah, Octavius is definitely hoping that, by the time this all unfolds, especially after watching Saul, or Fagolis, as you guys all know him, just tossing things out of a carriage or a wagon that's going down the street, just hoping that by the time we get there, things haven't gone too far, and that this queen of the storm giants will at least be able to witness, or figure out what we want to figure out.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just paranoid and kind of like pacing.
Yeah, so from there we kind of sped up forward, and you guys are no longer at the scrying pond. You're actually into her private quarters. We zoomed forward a bit. I guess I didn't say that. And she is asking, like, what is our next move? You speak of Waterdeep. I know of the city. My mother used to bring me near the coastline to watch the lights at night. It was always a very beautiful spectacle. The city always shone so brightly in the night, and it was amazing to me that something above land like that could be so beautiful. I've never actually been in the city myself, though. Have yous?
Olivia would be like, "Oh yeah, I got family there. It's great." And I agree. The night sky is lovely this time of year.
No, never been that south. This will be an experience for both of us.
Indeed.
I might have walked through Waterdeep, but now that you look like one of us, why don't we just go and maybe you can spend some time and enjoy it? Our world is beautiful.
Are all the small folk like yourselves so pleasant?
Warren would
giants.
snap and at that point and be like, no, not pleasant at all.
Well, I'm very interested in knowing what this coin that I found on my mother has to do with it all. And you say that your friend Soul, the dragon, and you can tell as she speaks of this that her face speaks with discontent, but you guys have swore by her. Dragons are the ancient enemy of all giants, so it's hard for her to swallow this, but you guys have assured her that he is a good dragon. So she says, "This Soul, tell me more of him. He seems like quite the fellow, making a spectacle in town like that."
Well, the first time I met him, he was getting in quite a bit of trouble at the gambling boat, and I don't know. We just kind of hit it off, and then, I didn't even know he was a dragon until he hit the water, and then all of a sudden he's a giant dragon, and I got worried because he was still my friend, so I blasted him out of the water, and it kind of seems like every time we need him, he just shows up. We actually saved him from, God, what was that bitch's name? That other flying castle. Sister, yeah.
Sensory.
It was close.
Yeah, Sansari. I know.
She had him.
She
had him locked up.
She's one of the countesses, or the giant lords of the cloud giants.
She used to be.
Yeah.
She's dead now.
Yeah.
I'm
She's
sure
gone.
that is. I've heard that she was definitely not aligning herself with us. So, as troubling that is to think that my own kin is at war with itself, I guess the world is a safer place without her, from what you guys have described. But we must come up with a plan. This Waterdeep, I can get us close, but unfortunately the Wormskull Throne only allows me to teleport to places that I have been. So I will have to teleport us to the outskirts of the town, and we'll have to approach from the coastline. Will that be okay?
I know.
Absolutely.
That sounds great. I know a lovely trail. Have you been to this beach?
As you say that, you hear another giant splash as the killer whale Lebloon jumps up into the pool and then splashes down, makes a blowhole noise, and completely showers you all in water once again. This is the second time now.
This is a whale, right?
Yeah, it's a killer whale, fully grown.
So how good of friends are you with the whale?
Oh, me and Laboon, and she goes over to him and apologizes again. We're the best of friends. He's grown up with me, and then she walks over actually to the chest over here, this anemone chest, and plucks it open, and there's a bunch of fish in it. And she grabs a couple and walks over and does a little whistle. LeBloom kind of does a circle around, and then she throws a fish up, and he jumps out and swallows it, splashing down again. This time a little more clean.
Just as like, would Octavius notice like how large this whale is? How big it is? How big is it?
It is a fully grown killer whale. So
It's just a killer whale, so it can't like we can't ride it to the fucking water deep.
I mean, yeah, like I guess technically you could ride on it, but you also are like 10,000 feet below water.
But it's a whale. It could like if we can we go inside the whale? Is this Jonah in the whale?
You want to get consumed by a whale?
Well, maybe if it's her friend, it will let us out when we get there.
But they're still, like, what? No.
I don't know if I can hold my breath that long.
Yeah, that's it.
It would just be neat.
We are also fairly far away from Waterdeep, if I'm going to be honest with you. We're in the middle of the Trackless Sea, which is many days, many weeks even, away from Waterdeep.
I was just thinking, my liege, if you were able to go use the Wormskull throne to get places, maybe we could get outside of Waterdeep with the whale and go to the Waterdeep. But it was a silly idea. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have thought about it.
I like your thinking, but here, would you like to feed him?
Idea.
Yeah, I'd love to feed him. That'd
She
be
offers
excellent.
you a live fish, and you can make
This
an
would,
animal handling check.
Octavius would be in like heaven right now, man. He'd be like, "Oh my!" He'd slowly but surely like stumble up to this whale, he's terrified. But he's read about them so much in the books back in Yatir, where he was brought up, and he just always thought that whales are one of the coolest animals deep in the ocean, plummeting to places that man could never see. And yeah, I would do my best to chuck that fish straight down his gullet.
All right, give it an animal handling check and see how well the boon takes to you.
Natural.
Octavius would even say a small prayer to Ilmater, and please let me make a good impression on this fish. Animal handling. And...
You can do it.
Oh, I got
You
13.
cannot do it.
No,
You
that's
can
not 13.
wishful.
Yeah, 9.
No.
You get a 9. You throw it up, and it kind of bonks off of his head into the water. And as he's trying to get it, he splashes in, and you get a bit soaked. It's not like angry at you or anything like that, but it seems like you guys
just start barrel laughing. He is so wonderful.
Absolutely. She holds out any more fish if anyone else would like to try to feed him. Nobody else steps up. She'll continue to try to feed Laboon so that he stops splashing around. She says that he gets rather cranky when he's hungry.
No.
Then she throws a couple more fish, which then he seems content, and Laboon dives back down into the water and disappears. Apparently this pond that he's in goes somewhere else as he is now gone and happy. She would say that we'll have to speak to my aunt and uncle and come up with a plan. I know that there's giant lords right now that have been waiting quite some time to speak to me, and I'm sure they won't be too pleased, but maybe we leave in the morning.
Yes, you should probably handle your affairs.
Absolutely.
You must, but I have to warn you. We usually don't do well with plans or sticking to them.
We kind of go
With the
where
flow.
it flows. We do our best to stay focused.
That is very an interesting concept to me. I too used to like to do that, but now that I have become queen of the giants, everyone insists that I must think of every decision and always make the most calculating of moves. I doubt that anyone would think that what I've decided now to go out into the small folk world while we are at war is a smart decision, but for some reason my gut instinct just tells me it's the right move, and my father always used to tell me that I have really good instincts. So hopefully this move pays off.
Well, we should take care of you, and we will be on our way, right?
Yeah, and as you're saying that, you hear footsteps coming down the spiral staircase to the south, and you see Mithrim, the aunt of Sarissa, coming down, and she looks to you guys and smiles and says, "So, you are planning to go through with this then, my niece? She nods, and this is, let me do some things here really carefully and try to share this picture of her. That should be good. Share a picture of Mithrim. And as she's speaking to you, she says, I have already made a meeting with the other giant lords. I will tell them that you have fell ill, and that you will not be able to speak to them for 2 weeks, 10 days. That's about all I think I can buy. From there, I think it'll be caused too much tension. You know how fragile things are right now, my queen. And we must not push those who could be potential alliances away from us when other giant lords have already declared war on us openly. Me, your uncle Uthor, and your 2 sisters will basically be the face of the kingdom for now, obviously going off of whatever word you give us, my queen. And when you return in 2 fortnights, hopefully we'll have some answers. And have you guys, if I remember correctly, and correct me if you think I'm wrong, you guys spoke where you were going, right? Like, you, Thor, and all them know the plan too, right?
I don't think they know where we're going. I definitely remember our group didn't trust her.
Okay. Yeah, and as she walks in, Warrendale, who is unfortunately not here today, he has kept this quiet, so I guess you guys wouldn't know this, so I don't even really know why I'm saying it, but now that I've spoke, I might as well say it. Gets this weird tingling feeling down his spine. But nothing more than that, really. Just this
Can Warren actually do a check on her just to see, like,
yeah, what kind of check do you...
check to see if she's, like... I feel like they're plotting.
Mm-hmm. You
So
can do
like
insight check if you want.
Yeah, I think that might... This is Warren doing an insight?
Yeah, and with a 4, like, you wouldn't know he rolls a 4, so it's hard to tell. She's obviously a mysterious character. She has a bit of an aura that he is feeling and only he feels, so it's just this tension for some reason that he can't put something familiar, but at the same time he knows that he's never met a storm giant before, so I don't know, maybe it's just something about her that's off-putting, but instincts, you don't get anything that is a tell. So she would say, now, I am very against this, obviously, but I trust your words or your instincts, Sarissa. And the speech that you gave was very noble and brave of you, so I support your decision. And she'll kind of approach her and embrace her in a hug, kind of pulling her head in and patting her. But you'll have to know that we will all be very worried about you. I would like to know at least where you're going and what the plan is, so that if something does go wrong, that we can do something. 2 fortnights is all that we can spare, and if you're not back before then we'll have to send people out looking for you too, and at that point we'll be truly vulnerable. So, what is the plan? And Sarissa obviously is going to look like she's going to speak up unless you guys say anything, but that would be basically outwardly opposing Mithrim. So she's about to speak up. If anyone wants to say anything, then say so.
Yeah, Octavius will try to speak first, and we were just speaking to the queen and telling her that we usually operate without a plan.
Well, one thing is the queen going out into a war-torn country where possibly 2 sides of a warring nation want to kill her, but unfortunately as her counselor, I cannot condone her leaving with no plan. Surely you will understand the importance of our queen, and that if she is taken down, then this world is truly doomed.
Of course. I never meant any disrespect.
None taken. I, just as a counselor, must obviously look after my niece. So, where to? Sarissa, seeing you kind of say that, gives you a frown, a glance like... something around?
I'm gonna give her some, like, winky eyes and maybe like a little stare.
She's gonna insight check you to see if she knows what that means, because I really don't know what that means. So she rolled a 2, so she takes that as well, they have a contact, and she leaves out who it is, in Waterdeep. Somebody who apparently knows more of this coin that was found on Mother. And then from there, we will hopefully follow the leads that he has. There is a gambling ship that Octavios has been on that apparently is where he met this contact. I believe, Octavios, you said that city was... where? What was it again? She actually looks to you.
My hometown of Yatir. And he would just kind of put his head down as he said it.
Yartar, Yatir. And you're going to Waterdeep. That is a very long journey. And she actually goes into, walks quickly, come into the study. Mithrim says to you guys all, you don't have to move your tokens there, but she brings you in there. And she starts going through the bookshelf and pulls out a map of the Sword Coast. And she will lay it out in front of you. Screen sharing. And she will point and say that Waterdeep is here, where you guys plan to meet with your contact. Now, Yartar, you will have to follow the high road until you reach the long road, and then take a very long journey up the long road to Tribor. And then from Tribor, you will have to take the Tribor Trail to Yartar. That is a extremely long journey, one that will take the utmost of expedience to make in 2 fortnights. So if you guys don't want angry giant lords coming back, you will have to be using your time wisely. That is a long journey. And she basically maps out. So if you guys can look on the map, Waterdeep is where I have circled, and then basically way up here is Yartar. So that is definitely a long journey by foot.
We've traveled farther.
Yeah, you definitely have, actually.
Mm-hmm.
You've actually traveled from Daggerford, which is way down here, all the way to the spine of the world, but she doesn't need to know that, I guess. So you've traveled from there all the way up to the farthest north regions. But yeah. So she, do you have any questions? I'm actually rather studied in the Sword Coast. Any other plans that you have? She kind of looks nervously.
I wouldn't want to speak up again.
Can you tell me more of
Yeah,
this
it's
contact?
No, unfortunately, I'm sorry, I can't. He trusts me, and I'm not willing to break that trust for anyone.
Well, my niece trusts yous, and I will admit that we are at a loss of what to do here. So, I will trust then that you know what you're doing. You've made it this far, where no small folk has ever traveled before, so that must mean something. But please, Sarissa, at least take this. And she pops out a sending stone. If anything goes wrong, reach out to me, and I will send everything Maelstrom has to offer to aid you. And she hands the stone. You guys look like you have some sleep to get to. I will make the meeting first thing in the morning and tell the giant lords that there will be no council for the queen until 10 days from now, and you guys will leave in the morning. I wish you the best of luck.
You can say no, because I've just obviously I'm probably only meant to utilize Warren for battles and things like that. I understand, but is there any way that I can like follow her and like kind of like spy on her maybe, and just be like, because he seems like the one in the group that would do it, and he obviously has a bad feeling about it, and he would be like wanting to, he doesn't trust her.
Yeah.
I feel that way. I don't know. I could be wrong.
I think you're right in that regards. I will warn you, Warrendell, that could be rather dangerous. But
I thought we were all four of us were like nobody
actually,
touches us.
yeah, you're good. So what do you want to do then? So yeah,
So
you're.
yeah, as soon as she leaves the room,
Mhm.
Warrendale would kind of like wait a few minutes. He'll skip around a little bit. He'll kind of like he'll sashay over. He'll give a wink to the group, and then he's gonna misty step onto the other side of the door into the shadows, and he's just gonna follow her in the shadows. And he's always gonna stay at a distance, but being so small, Warren will probably have an easier time being hidden from her, like at a distance and still within earshot. So he just
Mhm.
wants to remain within earshot.
Yeah. So Sarissa will ask the group before we continue that forth where Octavius or where Warrendell is going. What is wrong? You guys
Oh,
seemed like you were not at ease there.
I think he
He's
might have had
never
to
at
go
ease.
to take a leak.
All right.
he just kind of wanders. He'll be back.
Are you guys always this mysterious when it comes to these things?
My queen,
Yes, they
He
are.
is.
we understand that you have been around these people for a while, but we have stayed alive so long, not trusting anyone so easily. Our mistrust should never reflect badly on you. That is why maybe we keep it aside.
Very well. Well, she says, okay then, and basically Warrendell, give me a stealth check at advantage because you're invisible and staying a good distance back. And I will frantically try to figure out how this map works. And you
I'm gonna
rolled
take the
a
not natural 20.
yeah, the 20. Yeah. So she walks up the spiraling staircase, and up to the second level where it opens up into the secret council room door, which she led you down, and then back out into the main throne room, taking a series of corridors. Then now back in the amphitheater throne room, she sees that Uthor is there, and he's kind of sitting there impatiently with a couple of guards, and barks out, "Mithram, how? What is going on? Is she truly leaving?" And she would, "Yes, Uthor, she is, and we must trust her in this regards. She is our queen, and clearly, Hecaton, my brother, made her the leader for a reason." Uthor angrily back, "But our entire kin is at war right now, and the small folk have already killed Neri, my sister, and probably the king too. We seriously cannot be okay with this." And she would talk back, "So you mean to commit treason to the queen?" To which he obviously, "Never would I betray my family." "Well then, we have no choice. I will make a meeting with the giant lords first thing in the morning, and we will tell them that Sarissa is sick. She will take a meeting when she is feeling better, and we, for now, must be the face and make sure that none of them know. Is there any other questions?" To which they kind of go back and forth for a bit, but nothing happens, and then that conversation is over, and she goes to basically leave the I'm trying to figure out where she would go, actually. Looking at the map, she doesn't actually really even have a... Where'd my pins go for this? Thanks, Dan. Just kidding. Yeah, where are my pins for that? Oh, well. I'll just freestyle that. So, yeah, she begins to head out of the throne room. Are you going to continue to follow her? You'll need to do another stealth check.
Yeah, he trusts Uther. He would continue to follow her.
She goes into the kitchen and begins puttering along, telling the cooks there that they must have a hearty breakfast prepared for the giant lords, for none of them are going to be particularly happy. And
That one was only a 13.
13. You're invisible, so it's pretty easy to make your way. You see the two sisters in the Great Hall working on another performance. they would approach Mithrim and basically have a conversation. I'm not going to role play at all, but they're just very curious of what is going on. And when Mithrim tells them, they seem give me an insight check, actually.
I have an idea already how they're gonna seem, but oh, come on, Warren. Yeah, that's a 6.
Yeah, it's hard to actually like fully discern, but they seem okay with the fact that her sister, they say that they were very moved by her speech and that she really is a great leader. And Mithrim basically replies, that's why her father chose him. Goes to the kitchen, and then she basically just putters around for a while. I'm trying to find her actual room. I think she just is currently staying at a guest room because she's actually not like a person here. So she eventually retires to her guest room and closes the door. It's late at night. Do you continue to follow her or stay at her bedroom? I imagine that the invisibility it lasts an hour, so I'm going to say that you're already like 15-20 minutes in when she begins to head to her quarters. Is there anything else you do?
Yeah, at first Warren would let her enter her quarters and close the door.
Mm-hmm.
He'll stand at the door and see if he can hear anything at first.
Perception
if he can't
check.
hear any? No, fair enough. 18.
Nothing in particular.
So yeah, can he do an arcane check to see if anything is magically imbued, or let me check his spells. I don't think he has anything like that.
He doesn't have detect magic, and Arcana isn't necessarily used for detecting magic as much as it is understanding magic. So unless he knew that magic was in front of him, wouldn't really be much to Arcana unless you have like a specific idea of what you're checking out.
No,
like you can't just look at her and be like Arcana check and then suddenly know like yeah.
No, I wanted to see if her door was like magically imbued with hey, fuck off, I know somebody's coming through here.
I can tell you that his passive Arcana, which is like a 14 naturally, is doesn't see any kind of magical things to it. If you want to go past the 14, then you can roll, but it doesn't seem passively like there's any magic going on at her door.
At this point, he would be very interested, but he would be afraid that if he crossed the threshold of her room that he would be seen, so he would probably start making his way back.
All right. Then after it takes about 30 minutes in total, because obviously keeping in mind that everything is giant size as he walks through these corridors, so it takes you guys like quite a bit of time to traverse around these areas. You make it back to the quarters of Sarissa, which she asks if everything's all right to Warrendell.
Yeah, I just had a little bladder problem.
Well, you guys should get some rest now. Do you need an escort back to your guest quarters?
I think we'll be fine.
All right, then. You guys are free to do whatever you want. Do you head back down to the guest quarters? It is very late and coming around the time now where you would want a long rest. Especially with the travel. So unless you guys say otherwise, I'm going to assume you march back down to the guest quarters and get a sleep and prepare for the journey ahead. Any last requests before we do so? All right, then you do so. A long rest is acquired for the group. I will mark that down on Fantasy Grounds, and you wake up in the morning to a knock on the door, which is Sarissa. And she says that the giant lords have now left, and it is time to make the journey if you guys are ready. With that being said, she tells you all to gather around as she takes a hold of the Krolanor scepter around her neck, which apparently has some control over the Wormskull throne. She mutters a word to herself, and then suddenly, bamfing in front of her, is the throne. Hovering above on the 4 dragon skulls and just this massive obsidian throne, and she sits in it and tells you all to gather around and hold on.
It would take Octavius a few minutes. He would be like mystified at the throne. He'd be wanting to like check it out and like look at all the carvings, and it's not that he's not trying to pay attention to her, but he's just absolutely in awe.
And Warrendell does indeed hear like some faint whispering. He can't fully make it out, but since he's not here, I'm not going to go into that because I don't think his character would say anything anyways. But you just see Warrendell kind of like messing with his hair. It doesn't look like he got a particularly good sleep for some reason. And then she says, yeah, gather around. We're going to teleport. And she mutters some words unless you guys have anything else to say. She says that she's took care of her affairs. We have apparently quite the journey to make, so we'll have to use our time wisely, and begins to cast the teleport spell through the throne. Apparently that is an ability that it has, and then suddenly you guys are bamfed through the weave. You feel this lightlessness and nothingness about you as your consciousness are being flung around this whirlpool of lights and just fast moving, like basically like a dream state or flying through space or whatever, only much brighter. It's hard to focus on anything, and then suddenly you feel the ground before you, the sounds of crashing waves and the cool winter air. You look now and you're on the coastline of the Sword Coast once more, and in the distance, maybe a few hours away, you can already see it, is the City of Splendor. A cool winter's blow from the sea comes in and just chills you guys to the bone as you now realize you're in knee-deep kind of snow, forgetting that it's still like the tail end of winter. You guys forgot how truly cold it is. Luckily, I think you all still have your Yeti coats, so I'm sure you...
I'll give mine to the princess.
Yeah, she is instantly like, this is awful. She's freezing and already begins to sneeze, and you guys live in this is, and she's shivering. This is terrible.
I'll experience will wrap it. Go ahead.
Actually, I'm lying because she has resist to cold, so she probably isn't that bothered. So yeah, retcon. She's like, whatever, winter's cool.
It's a little nippy here, but not too bad, right?
Well, the bottom of the ocean is much cooler, she says. Maybe not, but whatever. She's not cold now that I realized that I looked at her stat block. However, as you're taking in the coastline, though, there is the City of Splendor, and you see the massive walls that protect the city. It's already just this impressive sight. Even from this far, you can see some of the buildings towering over the walls. Waterdeep is one of the most impressive cities in all of Tyrell, and definitely one of the best or biggest cities in the Sword Coast. You see the billowing smoke of industry, and you see the long road or the high road just a couple of feet away off the snowbanks that is definitely not frequented, but you can see that there is like apparently some caravans that have tried to trudge through this snow, and there is like a small kind of track that doesn't you wonder how like anyone could actually travel through that in a carriage or something, but it appears that at least people try to. You also look around and you see that the Sword Coast itself seems beat down in what's the word I'm looking for? As if it's definitely seen battle, I guess. There's kind of knocked over trees and smokes and burnt out, maybe like a smashed wood cabin or something like that. And as you begin to head towards the city, you actually see kind of to your surprise that the city is surrounded by pikes. And on these pikes are massive severed giant heads. And you all remembering Waterdeep, maybe the last times you've come there or been there before, always remember Waterdeep for being a pretty like peaceful and accepting city. But as you approach now, seeing the smoke and the obvious signs of battle on this winter horizon, you see that apparently there has been fighting, and there is currently guards pulling the corpses of giants into like massive piles and burning them. And that is where a huge plume of smoke is coming from. And you see a very large line queued up to get into the gates of Waterdeep. What do you guys do?
Let's get in line.
Actually, Libby,
Or
I could
This
always
doesn't
call
very
Saul
much-
to us.
Oh,
Very
I know.
much doesn't look like what you described it as.
Well, one, it's winter, and two, well, even when we were at the forgot the name of the forest, Armed Forest. It looks like the giants that attacked there also probably attacked here, and
And there's trophies
right,
there.
yeah, hopefully to ward off potential threats, which understandable, though that does make this stickier predicament.
What is the makeup of the queue?
None are giants, if that's what you're looking for, but all different kinds of races that you would, I guess you wouldn't expect, but everybody else would expect that. Like Waterdeep's a pretty ethnically diverse city, so you see dwarves, elves, humans. It's a pretty long line, and anyone who frequents Waterdeep would know that that's kind of strange. You know that there's a bit of a process getting into the city at nighttime, but usually for the most part, as long as you're not like being a total d-bag, then you're let into the city with minor registration kind of process. But yeah, there's a big lineup, and as you guys make your way, you're still like so like a few 100 feet away, as there's like caravan traders trying to get in, complaining about the
And
cold.
Libby would turn to the queen like, you might want to just take a moment to sit for now.
She is looking at the pikes, and she looks a bit distraught and says that my aunt and uncle told me that the fighting had begun and that the war had already broke out, but I didn't think it was this bad. As she
What
looks
kind of giants are they?
this particular kind look like give me a check. Give me a check that I'm going to tell you what the check is, actually. Unless you can think of a check, but I am currently trying to find the skills section. I'm
I was
thinking
thinking like wisdom or intelligence, especially for like Libby and Octavius and Warrendale for are these the giants they experienced before when they were in the forest.
I can tell you off the top of my head that it's definitely not a cloud giant, which you guys have become pretty frequent with, and it's definitely not a frost giant, which you guys are also quite familiar with. Give me an investigation check unless you can think of something better. Anyone that's checking out the giants.
Yeah, looking over, glancing. Good glance.
I
You
would just
recognize
ask
it
the princess.
as, yeah, and the princess will speak up in a second if you were to ask her, but Livy already recognizes them as stone giants. Not because
Were
you've
these
ever...
the ones?
What's that?
Were these the ones that attacked in the
Daggerford?
Royal Forest area?
Nope, those were cloud giants. You've only
okay.
read of stone giants for with a 20. You're pretty sure, but yeah, you're not definitely familiar with what a stone giant is. You can just tell by their kind of just dark stone-like skin, and they're primarily like bald. They don't have very much in terms of hair, and they just literally almost kind of look like more of a statue than an actual, like they almost look like kind of like golems, I guess, but you can clearly see that like there's frozen congealed blood kind of horrifyingly dripping on the pikes, and you currently see a couple of soldiers currently like hacking at one's head and severing it off, and you hear like someone barking out like, "Get that up over there!"
This might have been a recent attack then.
I'd say clearly.
No wonder why there's a queue.
Is this queue normal?
Oh no, not at all. Like, yeah, it makes sense though with in a very recent, because yeah, if you said dripping, it's like, and they're hacking away at the head. So
Yeah. Sarisha looks just confused, and I don't understand. Why would this happen?
This is a result of your ordering. This is what's happening to us.
She kind of rubs her hair and pushes it out of her face. But why the stone giants? They are the most reclusive of all of our kin. Why would they even be out here? Let
What I
alone
can tell
fighting.
you is is that none of our. I don't understand any of these people either, but we don't go looking for a fight.
But
especially against giants.
neither do the stone giants. From what I've always been told, they always keep below the earth, and they actually don't even really regard this surface area as real. Most of them only come up here out of necessity, and they actually look at it as going forth into a dream. They don't even look at this surface as reality. They shouldn't be doing this. It doesn't make sense. And she looks like distraught, and she's speaking up loudly, to which one of the caravan merchants say, "Nothing the fucking giants are doing makes sense. They're just coming around and fucking destroying everything. A bunch of murderous buffoons. They've been attacking everywhere, destroying buildings and everything. It's been chaos. All giants, they can all die." And she looks obviously very taken aback by this.
Octavius will console her, put his arm on her forearm, and just be like, "Not all of us think this way. We must
mind your
fix this
business,
problem."
sir.
Mind
your business.
He takes one look at you and doesn't even question that for a thought to do anything else. But that, just saying, Waterdeep's been on high regards, and the reason that you're currently in this queue and that I've been waiting here for over an hour or two is because of this. Whatever is going on, I don't understand it, but all the giants, they've went insane. I didn't mean anything by it, but it's just...
Sir, how much would it be to buy your whole caravan? Like your whole wagon?
He looks confused.
I'll give you 30 gold pieces for everything.
You're nuts. Are you trying to make fun of me or something? You think you can just come here and insult me? 60
gold pieces.
Pissed off. He looks obviously offended. He's like
what is the makeup of this cart? Can we tell?
It looks like basically mostly like weapons and gear.
I only want the actual wagon, you understand.
You realize that I have thousands of dollars of gold or gold worth of gear and weapons here to supply Waterdeep.
Sell me a smaller wagon.
You know how long it took me to get out here, traveling on the goddamn long road. It's not even safe.
Gold for everything.
Not even safe where I came from. We had to try to get to Waterdeep thinking that we can get safety from these giants. And now here I am stuck outside in the damn cold.
And you're
I'll look
so
around
happy
and
about
I'll see if I can see like a easier wagon to procure.
Make a persuasion check to see if you can convince some random bystander to sell you their card. You picked a rather poor guy. He seems like he's grumpy and not interested in selling his entire wagon worth of gear. You do, however, with a 17, find somebody that will sell you a wagon for sure 30 gold.
I'd like some things in it, like so I have to pay like 50, 60, 70, 80, I don't care. But
yeah, you find like a family that their cart is in rather disrepair, like you don't even know how they even made it this far, and they basically were using it to get their food and supplies to the city. And there's
perfect.
Sure, 30 gold, take it.
So I'll look to the rest of the group and I'll be like, I think that we should head away from the town. And I'll kind of wink at everybody.
Livy is like, that's great. I want to go in and see if I can find my family real quick since we're here. And
we're meant to go inside the city, aren't we?
We're meant to speak with someone who is inside the city. I can ask him to come out.
So, Tavius, what if you got inside and found him, or we? Because I want to go and at least.
I didn't realize that your family was here, Livy. You should go. You should say hello. You should make sure that they know you're safe.
Yeah. It's been a while.
And if you, my princess, would like to see the city and see possibly what happens after a horrible fight, then by all means we will go in. But I'm just saying we don't have to.
Well, thanks for procuring a wagon.
The wagon will come in handy, and I'll wink at Warrendale, and he'll be like, "I got you."
You pat it on the side of the like wood or whatever, and you see like a screw kind of pop off the wheel.
Yeah, whatever.
Screw it back on. It's not broken or anything like that, but it definitely is like not the nicest wagon you've seen.
Mend. They just mend.
The wagon.
So are you guys waiting in line or going elsewhere?
Livy, if yeah, like
Waiting in line.
probably as soon as Dave was like, yeah, you should go find your family. She's kind of like, there's the queue, there's the guards. Can she just walk up to a wall and like misty step across? Because like, I'm just gonna bypass all this, and she'll go like a good distance around if she to not draw
You could
attention.
definitely try that, but you would know that even in the best of times when Waterdeep security isn't that high, that doing that is very dangerous and illegal. And there are people called the Black Robes, which basically are kind of like the magical police of the city. Doing that is an infraction of their law, and you know in the best of times that would be a pretty dangerous thing to do, so you don't know, you rather question whether or not that's a good idea when apparently tensions are higher than you've ever seen. So it's up to you. You definitely could try that, but you already know that in the best of circumstances that's a very dangerous thing to do.
She's fancy in line
And against the wall.
I want to get in. I want to get in. I could do this. Oh, you can. But I don't think this is all of the town focusing on this recent battle. And so, yeah, she's very much just trying to figure out how to get this line going faster and whatnot. She made, with one of the guards working on setting up more trophies of beware, just kind of be like, is there anything I can do? I am from Waterdeep. Hi, I live in Caspian. Do you know the Caspians? Yeah, can I get in? Can someone help me get in? I want to know if I can get to my family. And so
Yeah, you just like going to like the front of the line or asking like a random guy.
No, she would not go to the front. Like, you were mentioning how there were some guards like hacking off ahead to.
Yeah, they seem like they're part of the Lord's Alliance, and if you were to approach them, they would not know who you are. But yeah, just apologize and say that currently the process for getting into the city, there's an overflow of refugees trying to get in. I'm going to share you a picture of Waterdeep for what it's worth. You guys are coming in from the south side. But he would say that like there's just a incredible surplus of people trying to escape the war that the giants are bringing upon us. She apologizes. She apologizes this kind of night that the guards are doing their best, and if you can just be patient, that's probably the best way. It shouldn't be more than an hour. Ideally, the queue is moving to the best of their ability, and then all we need to do is a little bit of registration and know who you are, why you're coming, and what you're bringing in, and we'll have you in no time. And don't worry about these giants. He kicks one of the corpses, she does, and says, we've been doing a good job cutting them down this far. For some reason, the crazy bastards, they just keep storming the walls. Not very smart.
Huh. I'm glad that you guys are having great success with that. They are not easy. And she will relay to the others as she returns them. Just like, so we have about an hour to wait, so let's just keep trekking through, because trying to hop the wall, likely a very bad idea. And they just have, it's going to be a packed city, to say the least.
Mm-hmm. So, unless you guys do anything otherwise, I'm going to speed forth up to 30 minutes. So, say so now, unless you want to do something while you're waiting.
I'm just wondering, does the queen look like she actually wants to enter the town?
She's curious for sure.
Okay.
This isn't the picture perfect meeting of the small folk city, but she's also not like completely naive and childish. Like after a couple moments, she shakes it off and becomes content. She wants to get to the bottom of this. She's very bothered as to why the stone giants would be doing this, because according to her, they're a very reclusive and often like neutral, not aggressive race of giants. They're probably the most quietest of all, the ordning being shattered. So she is confused as to why they would bring war like this. 30 minutes pass, however, and as you guys are getting rather like halfway, even it's actually going quicker than you thought, so like you're pretty close now, and suddenly everyone give me a perception check before I say suddenly.
And suddenly a butterfly goes by.
Yeah. Butterfly. A
Everybody
snow
loves
butterfly.
butterfly.
Pretty.
A snow butterfly.
Hey guys, look.
So Livy actually, Livy is actually the only one to notice. And as you're looking at the beautiful snow butterfly flapping its wings through the cold air, you suddenly feel as if the ground beneath you shook momentarily. You look around and nobody seems to have noticed. But then in the distance, towards like the tree line and the mountainous area that Waterdeep is built around. Actually, I think I'm thinking of Neverwinter. I don't think there's any mountains here, so apologies. But you look off into the distance and you see a couple of guards yelling and giving signals or something. One pulls up a bow, a couple more pull up bows, and you see them in the distance like yelling and waving.
Oh shoot. Hey guys, as she looks towards where they're looking to.
And then coming over the hill lines where they're currently like stationed around, a couple more guards run up, kneel down, and pull back their bows. You see like a soldier on a horse kind of gallop around and is wheeling more men. You see a head pop up, and then another head pop up in the horizon, and then another head pop up, and all of these heads are gray like stone golems, and then they start to come over the hills, these massive 30-foot tall, 20 feet tall stone giants. 5 of them at first, 10, 15. They begin to pound their way over, and then suddenly everyone else begins to catch up with what you're seeing, and panic begins to ensue.
And Livy will say to the queen, just like, "Oh, queen, here, good luck. We're probably gonna have to stop these from destroying the city."
She looks on in confusion. This isn't right. What is everybody else doing? They're quite a few feet away at this point. Livy seen them rather quickly.
It's this.
Octavius would look to Livy and just be like, "Get her in the town."
And as you say that, other people are having the same idea, and panic begins to ensue, and suddenly a couple people budge forth in front of you in the line and begin to run in. Let me in, they're coming. And then once like a chain reaction, once one person does it, another follows, and then suddenly the line just completely breaks down now, and people are beginning to pound and try to overcome the guards. You see the guards frantically trying to hold them back. "No, wait, you must wait, everyone remain calm." They're not remaining calm.
Livy would grab the queen and do as Tavios mentioned, but as she does, she's like, "Unless there's anything you think you could do, like I don't know how you guys know who's top of the pecking order, but knowing that you're the queen, if
She should not reveal herself in front of all these people, especially if they're going to kill giants.
Exactly.
But if there's something she can do without turning into a giant or giving herself away.
Agreed, but that may also be the one redeeming thing that would spare her. But yeah, agreed. And she's going to start trying to lead away.
Yeah, because at first she was like, "Yes, like if I just transform and tell them I'm the queen, surely they'll stop this madness." To which you guys kind of hush her down, like, "Whoa, don't be talking about that." And then she looks over to you guys saying that like you don't think she's safe, and says, "You think that your people would attack me?"
I think
fear does a lot, and they are fearful.
I think at this point, Octavius would look to Rick Livian and be like, maybe you should go with them. They might need help.
You see the first
Oh my
stone giant
gosh.
come over the hill now and charge into a crowd of the Alliance, and with a big stone kind of club smash into the ground. A couple of soldiers are sung flying, but then the bows release 15, 20 arrows, all begin to sink. A horse runs by with a pike stabbing into its leg, and they begin to engage. And rather quickly, you see about 15 or so soldiers all like begin to go in onto this giant. Someone throws a spear into its back, connected to a rope, sinks into its back, and begins to hold on to it. Another one, and then kind of a scene like out of Star Wars with the AT-ATs. They begin to wrap around a string around its rope, a big chain. The giant comes falling down to the ground. A big plume of snow poofs up, and then the men begin jumping on it and assailing it. They quickly make short work of the one giant, but before they can even celebrate, they turn around and another 2 stone giants are upon them, smashing their clubs down. A full-on battle has begun to ensue now. Panic begins to arise as the guards just, fuck it, let them in, madness! And then people begin to pour into the gate.
Nice.
You
Definitely say. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
Yes.
sorry.
Okay, so much.
I also can't see the Zoom chat, so if you guys are saying anything to me in the Zoom chat, just make sure you type it in Fantasy Grounds. But if you're talking amongst yourselves, then that's fine.
Just putting ideas in there that are not necessarily important.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to go towards the giants. I want to usher the queen.
Yep.
And kind of
Right.
protect her.
Do you want to make like an athletics check then? Because now that the mob has kind of assaulted the thing, you guys were kind of just pushed back inherently as like hundreds of people are rushing now. But you're a pretty big man, right, Livian? You could just start pulling people out of the way.
Yeah, I'm thinking Reich should lead the way, and
Yeah.
Livy will kind of
I'm
push
gonna make the whole
the queen along. You hang on to him. I'll cover your back and whatnot. Just
So
keep close.
you want athletics?
That makes sense to me, unless you want to do something else.
Yeah. No, it's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, you like kind of just like bar arm that merchant that was kind of snapping off to you guys. You see him just like kind of shoving and pushing, and he's trying to get his caravan through. Like, I need to get my wares through. My wares, they're important. Everyone, get out of the way! And you just grab on to the back of the wheel, and I guess you can tell me if you want to or not, but I imagine you just like kind of snap off the wheel, sinking it down, and then grab him and throw him out of the way, telling him something along the lines of, people are more important than your weapons. And you just kind of chuck him to the back. He lands on his ass in the snow, kind of kicking up into his beard. He now has like a big chunk of mud and snow in his beard as he just looks at you and on kind of all fours in a crab position and just doesn't say anything. You begin to push your way through.
Livy passing by is like, you can replace things, but you can't replace people. So.
Yeah. What is Octavios doing? You're on mute and no camera, so maybe he's...
Yeah, my internet's getting a little weird. Octavius is trying to keep his eyes as best he can on Livy and the princess and Rick Livian, but he's also letting himself and hopefully Warren fall back a little bit so that he's still debating on whether he's going to help the front line or if he's going to just make sure that, he's where he needs to be whenever he needs to be there.
Absolutely. So you guys begin pushing your way through, and as much as you want to, you can manhandle the families and merchants out of the way. With a 25 by Reich Livian, you guys are definitely like swathing through the crowd. However, just before you're about up to the guards now, and their guards are calling out, anyone that can, take up arms and fight. And you look behind and you suddenly see in the distance where the guards are currently like the front line engaging the first onslaught of stone giants. This burrowing effect of like dirt and chunks and frozen ice are just being kicked up as something begins to burrow towards the guards. They all try to jump out of the way, but it's too big. A couple of them get flung through the air. It goes right past them, this big burrowing like tunnel, and begins to head to the line of archers. Busting up through about 20 archers is this absolutely enormous stone giant. And as he comes up out of the ground, not even necessarily like he came out of the ground. It's as if he was the ground. And then suddenly his body begins to materialize. His head begins to form from the dirt. And then suddenly, as chunks of ice and snow and dirt begin to form this entity's body, you see that all kinds of things are just imbued in his skin. Like there's a giant stone well on his shoulders. There's like a cannon from some city's defense on his other shoulder. You see weapons and stuff all encrusted and literally melded into his face. He has an arm that is just this gigantic bell tower that is melded into his arm. He comes out of the ground and just with a huge boom smashes all 20 archers in one massive pound. And you just see that he's like literally encrusted and melded into his skin is all this debris and like city work and all this kind of like... Go ahead.
Warren automatically will cast Shatter at this stone giant and just kind of with a smirk on his face be like, Shatter.
Shatter. All right, let me see the range on that puppy. 60 feet. He is not within 60 feet. Do you want to wait until 60 feet to come?
Oh. Yeah, okay. I thought that we were like.
Yeah, this is like in the distance, and I guess momentarily, because he like pounds out of the way of the archers and then smashes them down with a huge pong that just rings out the bell tower. His other arm is just like this massive kind of catapult or something is imbued on it, and he chunks up a bunch of dirt on his arm and then just releases the kind of catapult, and it flings a bunch of stones at the wall, and you see chunks of ice and snow begin to pelt into the side of the wall, breaking a big chunk of the defenses, archers falling, plummeting. He now is in 60 feet range if you want to cast Shatter on him.
I would like to do that. And since he's made of stone, he will have disadvantage on his saving throw.
All right. Crucial to know. And that is a what kind of saving throw? Con. All right. And let me just make sure here, because this guy's got some things going on. He fails. Go ahead and do damage. And that's double damage, you said, because he has debris on him, right?
No, it was just disadvantage on the saving throw.
Oh, yeah. All right.
Because he's made of stone.
Yeah. So you boof, shatter, and basically there's like what looks like the front of a castle or some kind of stone fortress that's on his chest, and is literally like his chest plate, and you just cast Shatter and the chest plate just boof explodes. Pieces of wall shoot everywhere as like a window comes loose, and the glass that was remaining on the shattered window shatters into the ground. He looks at you all in the distance. Another horde of Lord's Alliance come charging up at him, and he will reach out and just basically with his big bell arm swoop into the ground and just kind of hit them all. And you see as he begins to punch into the Cavaliers that some of them just completely become petrified, turn to stone. The horses are just mid-gallop, and then the knights on them just completely turn to stone. And then with his other arm, he smashes down and shatters a couple of them. And he is not stopping. He's just like making his way through. And as he's coming out of the dirt, like I said, it's not that he was burrowing. It's almost as if that he was the dirt. And as he makes his way further and further, his torso becomes more and more apparent as the earth and ice begin to mold into his actual body. He now stands a towering like 30 feet tall, around the same size as a storm giant, which are the biggest giants, and begins heading towards the wall. He's now 30 feet away. People are panicking, thinking that this atrocity of a giant is coming towards them and towards you guys. You're now just in front of the door. You can make your way in if you want. It's actually probably about point in time now to roll initiative. I think that makes more sense to me. Okay. And then we'll act in initiative order. Because it looks like this giant is coming right towards you. All right, 6. What's everybody else roll? Nice. Somebody rolled a 1. Nice job.
Yeah, that's me, man. I'm all about this, apparently.
Yeah. You're fucking taking it all in. This is much different from the Cloud Giants. A very different tactic for sure.
I have like super awesome ideas when 2 fucking pages are open in front of me.
Nice. I like that. I'm scared every time you say that. I'm a little bit intimidated, but I'm going to go on with it. As this giant is actually first to act, I'm going to put him in initiative. And he begins to walk towards the towering wall. And Waterdeep's wall, I actually should have this in front of me, but I imagine it is taller than him. I don't know exactly how tall, but I'll spitball like 30, 40 feet. He's around the same size of it, but he's not quite. And he is going to make his way up to the wall, and basically there is this huge pot of burning liquid, burning like magma or something that they could drop on, and he's going to reach his arm up and punch into it. And as he punches into the wall itself, it's like his fist goes through the wall and takes up the big melting pot of magma and stone or burning hot liquid, and then suddenly his fist turns around it and basically encompasses it, and then his hand becomes part of that as he imbues it, and then he dumps all of the burning hot coals across the top of the wall as archers and everything are trying to jump out of the way. He's yelling out in Giant, which, who speaks Giant besides
Octavius.
Octavius and anybody else?
Mm-mm.
Nobody else.
I'm gonna check Warren. I don't know yet.
I don't think Warren does either.
Nope.
But he is speaking out that the Dream Devourer will be freed. It shall destroy this dream. I must find my home and stop it. Please, Scoreus, save our people. Save this wonderful dream. He speaks out in Giant, to which only Octavius and Sarissa understand. And she gasps and says that is a Dreamwalker. Next up in initiative is Livy.
And Livy's like, all right then.
And you can see that this Dreamwalker, whatever it is, has upset the front lines of the Lord's Alliance, that now the horde of stone giants behind it are beginning to overtake the defensive line now, and some of them are getting past and heading towards the wall also. So what is Livy doing?
Yeah, she's gonna like, well, I'm gonna take aim at it, as she's kind of still pushing along and pulling out Maiden's Garden.
Mm-hmm. You ready Maiden's Garden. Suddenly a magic bolt starts to imbue of what kind of a damage?
Let's do some fire, and we're gonna attack twice. There's
all right,
one.
hit.
And hey, I'll take dang.
Hey, there you go. Critical hit and a 29.
Critical hit.
Jesus.
There's
19 and 20 for 29 and 30.
Alright, there's one set of damage of
That was
7.
your critical damage. You rolled 2 1s. That is awful.
And there's a 10. Yay!
Nice. So your not critical was more impressive than your critical.
Right?
2 fiery bolts whip through the icy cold air and sink right into the side of this giant's arm, which again is just like parts of stone and buildings from you don't know where, but you can tell that it's just like imbued and engulfed this into its flesh. It's now currently wailing the burning hot goblet across the top of the wall, dumping it on all the guards. 2 quick shots. Do you do anything else? As it doesn't even really seem... you heard it for sure, but it doesn't...
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Probably just right there in the arm that's already dealing with the fire. But she's continuing to press forth with the queen whatnot. And so, yep.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely. All right. Next up is Warrendell in the initiative.
All right. So Warren at this point will be looking at this giant monstrosity. Anyway, is this thing considered a monster?
Like monster in terms of like its type.
I guess so. Yeah.
I see what you're asking about. Yeah. You're asking about the dominate monster.
No, hold monster.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. Everything's a monster. Everything's a creature. But let's see if he can even cast that spell, because that might be a scroll beyond his ability, which means he might need to make a check here to use it, because that is a dominate monster spell, is a 8th level enchantment. So currently above.
I have a level 5 spell called Hold Monster.
Oh, hold monster. Okay, sorry, not dominate monster. Then yes, he can absolutely do that.
Warrendale will look at this thing and start chanting a little bit and pop out a.
All right, DC 18. Let's see what happens. And that was a wisdom saving throw, eh? Okay. Let me open up his stat block. Where'd it go? It's over here. Wisdom saving throw. And I just got to read the spell. Sorry, I'm just reading it really quickly. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. Perfect. And yeah, you got him locked down.
Okay, so all of a sudden you see this monster, after he grabs this molten hot and pours it all over, he just freezes and he stops moving completely. And Warren just kind of laughs to himself and says, well, this might be a little easier. And as a bonus action, since I don't really know his stuff very well yet, I'm just going to throw a crossbow bolt at this fucker.
Yeah. So you can spend sorcery points if you wanted, which is getting complex, to like cast a cantrip as a bonus action if you wanted to, or you can just do what you're doing.
Yeah, I'm just gonna do it. I don't know sorcery spells.
Attacking while out of ammo. Apparently he's out of ammo, but that's fine.
Oh, that's my fault. I did all that.
Yeah. A 19 just barely hits, actually. Go ahead and do your damage. 8 more damage. All right. Now, normally, Octavius, you'd be up, and you're just about to say, hey, nice job, Warrendale. But this stone giant acts much quicker, almost supernaturally, like he has 2 actions around. And he is going to try to bust out of this. And with a natural 20, he is going to do so. However, that is his action. So he's done.
Okay.
You wasted.
Octavius, seeing the temporary paralysis of this thing, he looks to the line of stone giants coming. Now, how close are they getting?
They are still engaged, so they're about 60 feet away, and you see more Lord's Alliance kind of coming to now. And as you look over, you see black-robed individuals jumping off the side of the wall and then beginning to fly in the sky, and now bolts of energy are being shot forth. Anyone that knows anything about Waterdeep would know that these are the black robes, which are basically kind of like a magical police force.
Okay. Yeah, Octavius will just look at Warren through the crowd and be like, well, you started it, and so I am going to. Octavius will lift his fist and look to the heavens, and his fist will start to slowly and faintly glow a blue light. And as this smile starts to creep across Octavius's face, he's going to punch his fist down into the ground as he goes down on one knee. And as I strike the ground, a burst of divine energy will ripple out from me. About 30 feet, I'm casting Destructive Wave, and I'm casting it on this giant
Oh,
beast.
dang. That is something that I don't know about. So let's see what it is. You strike the ground, creating a burst of divine energy that ripples outwards from you. Each creature you choose within 30 feet must succeed on a Constitution saving throw or take 5d6 thunder damage, as well as 5d6 necrotic or radiant damage, and be knocked prone. A creature that succeeds on the saving throw takes half as much. Dang, that's some cool shit. All right, he is going to make a Constitution saving throw. I will warn you that that is his best stat, so he is going to do that. Oh, hold on a second. I just heard a... Sorry, can we take a short break? I just heard a loud crashing noise, and I'm currently home alone, so we're going to go inspect that. Let's take a quick 5-minute break. All right, guys? Got a drink and everything.
Yeah. Leave your audio on just in case something bad happens.
Yeah, I got you.
Ariki.
I can't remember Chris's address off the top of my head, but it'll take me a half an hour to drive there.
All right. Hopefully it's nothing serious, but it's good to know that you got the backup. Hamilton, just don't get right where you are, where you started. Like a miracle, it'll be enough.
Well, that's interesting. Is everyone there?
What's interesting?
Literally nothing is out of place in my house.
Okay, that is interesting.
Did you hear it on the mic?
Oh, yeah, you did hear the bang.
Yeah, that's really weird. Fuck, kind of creepy. Maybe something outside. I guess everybody else is AFK also, so I'm going to get a quick refill on the vino, and then we'll get back into it.
I missed that last part, man. Sorry.
He went to go grab a drink.
Well, fuck him. Taking his damn time. Walking around the house not getting a drink. How you been, Corey?
I've been alright. You?
Oh, everything's going alright, man. Nothing new and exciting, too crazy.
Yeah, nothing exciting to report.
How's work been?
Work?
I thought you were, aren't you still at the airport?
Yeah, still doing Delta. Still doing that Delta thing.
You ever take him up on any flights?
Yeah, I went out to Econ.
Well, fucking right now.
Yeah, it was a good time.
I could imagine that would have been a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Just to be able to shake the hand of a bunch of guys we've already talked to. And that'd be neat.
Alright, I'm back.
Uh-oh.
So, did you kill him?
Yeah, I literally don't know what that is. I just checked my entire house and nothing is out of place or anything. My daughter is sound asleep. Just a random loud thudding noise. Why not?
Cool.
Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? Cool. Ghosts are just saying what's up. Good with it. Is everyone back?
Yeah, I'm here.
Alright, everyone's back, so let's make that saving throw. He rolled a 18, so I believe that's half as much damage. Go.
And he doesn't get knocked down.
Yeah, Constitution is his best stat. So half.
So half of 39 would be 20? No, 19.
19. Nice. That's a powerful spell, eh? Jeez. 19. And the DM officially pulls out the calculator because he's bad at mental math. What does that look like? You don't actually like badly injure him. He's not even bloodied yet, but that's the first time you casted that spell. So let's give a little description of that.
So you see Octavius smash the ground with his glowing hand, and outwardly underneath the ground, the rocks start to throw up in the air, and gravel spitting as this line of power is going towards this beast. As it comes up out of the ground by his feet, it just explodes with a fury of like sonic pressure, I guess I'm going to use it as, and it ripples through the giant as it just causes small little chunks of rock on the outer skins fall off of him.
Absolutely. And yeah, he's almost knocked back momentarily as it seems like he's trying to like climb up the wall or whatever, and as he is trying to climb up the wall, the destructive wave just ripples out from you and sends him flying. He grabs onto the wall to hold himself up, and to your surprise, or maybe not your surprise, but as he grabs to the wall, his hand just like goes into it, and he gets like going right through, phasing through almost, and grabs onto the side of the wall, and then just uses that as leverage to right himself up. Assuming that's it for your turn. Right, Liviant, what does the barbarian from way up north of the spine of the world do?
All right, so Reich kind of stands in front of the princess, puts a hand on her shoulder and goes, "Stay behind me, princess. I have this." And how far away from me is the creature?
Now less than 30 feet, but on
30,
the wall, basically.
Yeah. So I'm gonna run over to where the creature is, and I'm gonna take out the great axe of giant slaying, and I'm gonna hit him.
Yeah, go for it.
Well, first I'm gonna rage, and then I'm gonna hit him.
All right,
And,
go for it. He has to make a saving throw when you do that too, eh?
He will. That's a 20.
That's gonna do it.
Alright. That's 17 damage.
All right, what did that damage do? For some reason, that did it to yourself.
Oh, fun.
So let's not do that. Are you targeting yourself or something? No, that's weird.
I don't know.
But 17 damage definitely hits him. Does he have to make a saving throw now?
Yes, let me look at it. When I hit with it, giant takes an extra 2d6 damage. So let's do that. And the extra 6.
Nice. He's officially bloodied.
Must succeed on a DC 15 strength saving throw or fall prone.
All right. Strength saving throw, he's going to be pretty good at that. But let's see how he rolls. He rolled a 21.
Yep.
So yeah, you go running forth now, diverting your way from the crowd now and stepping up, trying to finally give this big giant slaying axe a test whirl. You do a couple swings, then you run up and just right into the back of his Achilles tendon, slam in. You see kind of blood just gush out, cutting through the stone hard skin. He yells out in pain now and momentarily limps down as you've bloodied him. Anything else on your turn?
Yeah, I'm gonna attack again because I can do so.
Yeah.
When I rage and hit him the first time, also from behind Reich, out of the ground start crawling spectral images of his kin, and they are also attacking him as well.
Yeah, I totally just nerfed this guy. I just read the ability that he has. That's gonna. I didn't do it first round, but he's gonna start doing it next round. Sorry, but go ahead. 15 misses. As the spectral warriors rally in behind you, you charge. They begin to climb up, but the giant just boof, kind of bats you away. It doesn't damage you, but it knocks you off and breaks that kind of spiritual link.
Yeah, I'm gonna use that inspiration and roll that again.
All right.
18.
18 is his AC. As the other spiritual ancestors are bamfed away, you see giving out a glorious battle cry is Lorwyn, your wife, and she just in the air is lunging towards with her spear. Go ahead and damage.
So 16
Nice.
plus 3. And you need to make that saving throw again.
Yep. Give me a second here. 88 plus 16 plus 3. Okay. And saving strength throw, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah, 22.
Mm-hmm.
All right. He is now up, and he is going to slam his club down on you. And by club, I mean the melting pot of coals begin to pour around you. Give me a dexterity saving throw to get out of the way.
For who?
You. You're the one engaged on him, unfortunately.
Okay. I have advantage on that because of danger sense.
Yep, you definitely do.
So let's do that. Dexterity.
Yep.
15?
You just succeed, so you take half of 18 damage for a total of 9 fire damage. And the now pot of ambers comes slamming down. You jump out of the way. Cole's nearly hitting you, but then you're bopped by the burning hot kind of pot. I need you to make a Constitution saving throw. As you look down, you just feel your muscles begin to tense up.
24.
You shake it off though, and to your horror, it seems like touching this creature has some magical effect that it almost felt like your leg was going to turn to stone there for a second. Its second attack comes up now, and it's going to then scoop up the battlement that some of the archers are on, and they basically jump off and kind of roll. But as he scoops up the battlement, his hand now becomes the battlement of the wall, and then he slams it down on top of you for 24 to hit, which obviously is going to do so. And then on top of the damage you already take, you take 17 bludgeoning damage, which is halved. And then for
So
his
that would be
8.
8.
Yep.
Okay.
And then for his movement, he is literally going to just phase through the wall. And as he does, he just walks into it, and then his body starts becoming the wall, and then suddenly he is going through it. I believe that you at least get an opportunity attack.
Okay. Hold on a second. That's that. I know there's a thing that I have because of so I just have to hit him and then it'll be max damage.
Okay. That sounds interesting. What is that?
It's because of Lorwyn's love, because of my weapon.
Okay.
So what's gonna happen is that he's holding the the axe in one hand, and as the creature tries to move, he instinctually grabs for his main weapon and goes ahead and swings at him with that.
Okay. Let's see what you're made of.
Let's see it. Come on, baby, hit him.
That is gonna miss, unfortunately.
Yes, it is.
And what it is because you're so shocked by the fact that he just literally like melds into the wall. You try to swing, and then as soon as you hit into the wall, it is now just wall, and he is no longer there. And you hear the guards on top, "Breach! We have a breach! It's in Waterdeep!" And it is gone. Livy, you're now up and just in front of the gate. If you want, you can make an athletics or acrobatics check to push your way through the rest of the people and get into the city wall, or whatever you want to do.
if this pushing in also means the queen is with, sure.
Yeah, you can try to keep her with you. It's going to be a higher DC. And sorry, I should say, because Octavius, you speak giant. You hear it say before it comes into the wall, it says, Scoreus, I, Zythorvin, am your vessel. Please help me save this dream world. And then it melds into the wall and is gone. Now you're up, Livy. Sorry. I forgot to say that.
Yeah, so let's see how we do on an acrobat. Ooh. Oh, she would probably been fine, but she's pushing along the queen, not wanting to completely ditch her.
Yeah, you're faced with the decision of either losing the queen in the crowd and going through, or just kind of being stuck for a round in the crowd.
No, she will stick with her and is ready in action in case she does spot Zythorvin.
Yeah, you're now, next turn you'll be through the crowd, but basically to keep her with you, you have to kind of just like huddle your way through. And
Yep, she's going ready in action. If another threat approaches, she'll aim.
You hear screams of people in chaos and panic inside the walls of Waterdeep, and the sound of just stone churning and breaking, and then smoke and debris begin to fly as obviously this giant is doing something in there. Sarissa, with you, cries out that I don't know what to do. Why is he doing this? Why does he speak to Scoreus?
I wish I could answer.
She will say, because she, in her human form, she's honestly not the strongest and doesn't really have much ability. Or she does have something she can do, but she's going to hold off. But she says that he has become a Dreamwalker. It doesn't know what he's doing. And
Lou will hold up and be like, oh, now she already made an action. I want her to see what she knows of what Dreamwalkers are, if she has any knowledge of it. I guess she could just ask, like, what are they?
Yeah, and so 6 seconds of dialogue between the two of you for a total of 12. She would say that a Dreamwalker is a stone giant that has spent too much time on the surface, and they view the surface as not really a reality. So when they spend too much time on the surface, which none of them really like to do, they kind of go insane. And they believe that they're just walking through a dream, so they don't really regard what they're doing as reality. It's just basically like it thinks it's a lucid dreamer right now.
Oh.
And go ahead.
And so Olivia's just kind of, she probably doesn't have time to actually really say it, but she's certainly has things going through her head at the moment.
Warrendale, you're now up as this thing has you lost line of sight on it now. It's gone through the wall, and you hear panic and crumbling on the opposite side of the wall. You look over and you see Livy just barely pushing her way through with Sarissa. What is Warrendale doing? Which is Octavius Wren. And you're muted.
That's probably why I was having a little good conversation there with myself. Warren is Warren's actually going to how far away am I from Livy and the princess?
From them, you are like maybe 10 feet away. They're just slightly ahead of the crowd and you look over and you can barely see their heads bobbing through the crowd of people. It's going to be an athletics check or acrobatics or something more crafty to get through the crowd also, if you wish to.
Yeah, I'm going to oh, that would have been a good idea. Sorry. Yeah, I'm going. He's basically just gonna look at Livy and at the princess and be like, if he's heading into the town, would it be better if we maybe didn't?
Well,
like,
that's a good question.
If we destroy,
knock him out, maybe we can help scare people.
Sarissa will yell out, "We must stop him! It doesn't know what it's doing!"
Okay, so yeah, at that point, Warren will start fighting with the crowd, trying to get farther and farther. He's definitely having a hard time. Um, is there still smoke emanating off the top of the wall?
Yeah, there's the remains of like guards. Some of them are on fire, like yelling out. Hot coals are being like kicked to the side. The wall is now beginning to crumble in places. This thing did a pretty massive amount of destruction in such a short period of time.
Okay, so as a bonus action, I'm gonna Misty Step 30 feet. Can I land somewhere on the wall, on top of the wall, or do I have to? I only have 30 feet for the Misty Step.
30 feet, and you want to get on top of the wall? You said.
Well, either like to a place higher than all these people with a view of the
So
monster.
he actually has the pennant of Vin, which I believe he can cast levitate at will once a day. Let me
Yeah,
just double
Morndell will
check.
cast levitate, and he will
Yeah.
jump and push off the ground as he starts to hover above everyone else.
Yeah,
He's
let me
increasing speed. Yeah, am I speaking properly about this?
Yeah, I think so. As far as I can, I'm just trying to read it, but I'm pretty sure he can cast levitate at will. So once a day. So yeah, you do that. You begin to levitate up above, and you look into the maze of buildings and alleyways that is Waterdeep. Give me a brief perception check. You'd have to utterly bomb this not to see where it went, but let's just make a perception check to make sure. There it is. You just see smoke and debris and people screaming, and a building collapses, and you're just looking around Warrendale as he's starting to levitate up. You see guards now running along the parapets, trying to ready. Where did it go? That way. It's heading into town. And you're, where the fuck is it heading into town? And it's just too much chaos for him to spot where the giant has went.
I'll just wait at that point then. I'll hold an action for when I can see him.
All right. Next up is it, and basically on this turn it only gets an action, but it is going to use its action to dash. And when it does dash, you see that one of the small kind of like housing buildings that's one story tall along the long alleyways. And as Warrendale, the only one having a good look on this, Waterdeep is literally just this endless horizon of alleyways and buildings. It's the most metropolis kind of thing that you can see in the Sword Coast. So it's just like a sea of buildings and industry, and then suddenly a building kind of collapses, and you look and his vision kind of pans in about 60 feet away, and you just see a building collapse, and then that same burrowing effect begin to head into town. It's making quick distance away. It's making things fast, or it's making good time, and it's heading right into the heart of town. It's avoiding everything. You see people running through the streets in panic. And unfortunately you rolled a natural 1, so that's not going to help him that much. It's like that was literally the one thing he couldn't roll, was that.
Yeah, I know.
Octavius Ren, you're now up.
Octavius will look to the crowd. He'll start to feel odd that people are in such a panic, and that they're probably hurting each other trying to get at this point. His emotions are running wild. Ilmater and the suffering that's happening around him. He's just really having a really hard time with it. So he's going to oh fuck, this is so fast. I think I'm gonna cast Beacon of Hope. It'll bestow hope and vitality to the people around me. The range is 30 feet. So
yeah, you can encompass the whole party and a bunch of people.
Yeah, I'm just trying to lift attitudes, and you all must move. Get out of the way and let the men fight.
All right. Beacon of Hope. Yeah, so I'm going to say with the it just kind of, people look at you as a hero for sure. All the other party members now, you guys get advantage on wisdom saving throws and death saving throws, and you regain maximum hit points as possible when getting healed. So remember that. But as you cast this kind of aura of light from Ilmater imbues upon you, and you basically just like, people are looking at you in awe. You're like a level 10 or whatever 9 hero, so like you're pretty getting legendary at this point, and this aura of Ilmater comes over them, and you see people stop crying and wincing in pain as you begin to walk through the crowd. They all just kind of like step out of your way in awe, and you can make your way into the city with that.
Yeah, I'll do the best to get the group as close to I can.
Right, Liviant, your axe clangs into the side of the wall of Waterdeep. You chunk forth a little bit of its heavily fortified stone, but unfortunately it didn't find purchase in the back of the Storm Giant's leg like you wished. You now look forth, and the crowd is just all trying to chaotically head towards the gate, but then this aura of light is imbued Octavius, and he's now kind of walking like a biblical figure through the crowd as they're all just stepping away from him. You don't see the rest of your group. You look up and see Warrendale levitating above you. What do you do?
Yeah, I make my way towards my party, and try to get in that way. That's going to be an athletics or whatever.
With Octavius' spell, make sure you checked it off, Dan. Yeah, you get through without an athletics check. They're just kind of all in awe of him.
Oh, okay. Fantastic. So, when I get on the other side of the wall, where do I see the creature?
Give me a perception check. Which is probably like pretty appropriate, because as you walk in, it is just a labyrinth of stone, and you just take it all in at once, and it's so much chaos and so many people and so much industry that you've never really even imagined coming from like the kind of barbaric tribe in the mountains of the north, the seclusion of the world. It's a lot for you to take in. You get the general direction that it's heading north, so like you can head in that direction and obviously be sure you're heading towards it, but you don't know exactly where it is.
Yeah, I'm gonna unfortunately lose my rage, and I will look to the group and say, follow me, and I start to make a hole for us to be able to.
Yeah, you begin.
I'm just being like an offensive lineman.
Yeah, you charge forth into the alleyways. Thorvin is up next, though, and your guys is it's so funny that you're rolling so bad in perception, because there's such a key thing that you're missing that it's gonna suck in a couple seconds. But Zyvorfin, you lose track of him now, and you obviously hear the chaos and know the direction that he is heading in, but you don't necessarily see what he's doing. Livy, you now come barreling through, kind of falling over yourself, grabbing onto the queen's arm, pulling her through the last little bit of crowd. People are now scattering down the different alleyways. You hear some of them screaming, "Oh no, it's in! What do we do?" They're panicking. "We can't go back, there's more coming." And they all just kind of start running down different alleyways and panicking. Get away, get away. What do you do?
Keeping up with Reich and the queen and whatnot, just trying to help guide them along, or help push her along, I guess, and protect her the best she can. She's looking around, see if she could see where Dreamwalker went, but...
You make a perception check if you're looking for it.
Yeah. And so, 19?
All right. Perfect timing. So you look north, and as I say that Waterdeep is this labyrinth of unidentifiable just buildings upon buildings upon buildings. 19, being from here, you're pretty familiar with the place, and in the distance, the most notable landmark of the South Gate is the walking statues of Waterdeep.
The walking statues?
And you know, in this instance, as you're seeing it, trying to get like a land point, that it is this absolutely gargantuan statue of, there's 8 of them in total. They're enormous and tower over the city. And at one point, they basically came into existence in the city and started causing destruction and chaos. And they're just these gargantuan statues of individuals that almost ended Waterdeep. But then the Blackstaff at the time used her Blackstaff and basically shut them down. So they don't walk anymore, but these like literally larger than the city statues still are just positioned in the city. And you look towards the one that is towering over in the distance, and to your horror, you feel the earth begin to tremble. And you look, and then I'll share an image to you, as one of the walking statues that haven't moved for decades begins to lift itself out of the ground. And this thing begins to stand 3-story tall, 4 stories tall, 5 stories tall, literally towering over all of Waterdeep as it begins to pick itself out of the ground.
Oh, wow, wow. That's not right. Would she have like any history, like being from here? Like, is there maybe like some old defense? Like,
make a history check.
Picturing like Hogwarts suit of armors.
Yeah, make a history check.
All right. Come on, +6. All right.
18. So, from what you've learned, like I said, these statues haven't moved for probably even centuries. Ever since there is an individual in the city that's called the Blackstaff. And they're called that because they literally wield a staff called the Blackstaff, which has many powers, but some of these powers are the ability to control these walking statues. So you know that these things aren't meant to move without Blackstaff's approval, and right now Viraja Blackstaff is the current wielder of that, and you know that she would have no reason, I guess maybe in dire needs, like even a giant attack wouldn't really ensue with this thing activating. So something is horribly off for sure.
Okay.
Because when these things move, it just literally causes destruction.
Okay. And with whatever spare moment she has left, she kind of that moment of like, oh my gosh, that is not, wait. And she would just be like, okay, if you see that thing up ahead, that's okay. But why it got summoned is not okay. And I think there's something worse than our Dreamwalker. And the giants.
Yeah, and Sarissa is standing beside you. Did you do anything besides move into the city on your own?
I believe Liviant is leading the way, and the Queen and Livia are following him.
All right, yeah, the Queen is with you, and she looks up, and this is probably the first time in her life that she has seen anything that is bigger than her, let alone like triple her size. This thing is gargantuan in size. The largest kind of entities, like literally the size of primordials. I'm pretty sure these things are like some kind of version of a primordial or something like that. It is hundreds of feet tall probably. And she is just in awe.
I'm told that they're summoned when, like, for emergencies, like serious dire emergencies. So
you maybe reckon that maybe what's her name? Vajra Blackstaff has something's going wrong and she called it to action maybe. That's what you're trying to tell yourself.
Maybe there's more stone giants, even more than what we saw.
And as you head into town, I'm imagining, positioning yourself for what happens next, Warrendell is the next person to act. And yeah, now that you are levitating above the wall, your natural one kind of subsides. And now even if you roll the natural one, there's no way that you couldn't see this massive entity now beginning to pull itself up from the ground.
All right, so Warren's like, holy shit! And knowing that it's probably going to be impossible, and weighing all the options in his head, knowing that, you know, he will create head trauma if he casts too big of a spell sometimes. He'll still think that even Warren is like a bad dude. He'll be like, you know, this is going to be a cool way to save stuff. And he's going to actually try to use the scroll of Dominate Monster on this giant fucking 100-foot thing to see if you can help use it to actually fight the stone giants.
Okay, so
Whatever you need, man.
you got to make an Arcana check because this is definitely far beyond Warrendel's capabilities.
He's probably gonna be pissed
Wait.
that I use this.
Hold on before I even commit to that. It's a
Okay.
60-foot range. This thing's way more than 60 feet out right now. It's like 120. Actually, it's probably more like. Let me see. Just get a rough estimate here. It is. So yeah, it is 160 feet away from you.
How far is the other giant, like the Dreamwalker?
You don't see the Dreamwalker anymore. You can make a perception check if you want, but
I have a feeling the Dreamwalker is this thing now. I will make a perception check just for hopes that I have something to do this turn.
So in 20, you look at this thing animating, and as the picture, you see that this thing has like this massive beard and actual hair to it. But as it fully now stands above the city, probably standing like 100 feet tall, you see that its face begins to shift and form, and then suddenly the bearded face of the walking statue transforms into the similar face that this stone giant now had. And it yells out, "Scoreus, you have imbued me with your power. I am now a god." And as he just says this, it now just echoes out, and it's like a shockwave as his voice goes off, and you see like the wood and paneling of the roofs below him begin to like ripple off and just destroy.
Okay. So Warren's a little bit nervous at this point. He does make the connection. So he's gonna use. I think I'm doing this properly. I'm gonna use my meta magic to help me boost the spell with distance spell. So when I cast a spell that has a range of 5 feet or greater, I can spend 1 sorcery point to double the range of that spell.
Okay.
So if this thing's within 160 feet, I'm gonna double the range of lightning
Okay.
bolt. And lightning bolt has a range of 100 feet, so I'm gonna boost that to 200 feet.
That can definitely make it. It needs to make sure you check off the spell slot for him. And let me just.
I put it in the chat if you want to look at the spell.
Yep. I think it's a dex save, correct? Yes, it is. And let me just read this because this guy is nutty. Dex save. Okay, here we go. 12. It fails.
Okay, so. I get 8d6 lightning damage on a failed save, or half as much damage on a successful. The lightning ignites flammable objects in the area. So that's cool.
Oh wait, hold on a second. Sorry, I didn't read the full stat block. It rolled an 18, so it tied it, which I believe means it passed. Sorry.
So it gets advantage on dex saves?
Yes. No. Meta-wise, it has magical resistance, so it has advantage on all spell saving throws. But you wouldn't know that. But basically, you would see like the lightning bolt hit it, and then it just not have as much effect that Warrendel would have thought.
So it only takes 12.
12 damage onto it. All right, and like that, literally in the grand scheme of things, is like a tiny little chunk falls off of this massive thing.
And I'll just spend as much movement as I can, getting as close as I can.
Yeah, you begin to levitate towards it. Anything else? You can bonus action if you use some more spell slots or sorcery points. I'm going to spend one of your sorcery points since you used one. I did that for you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'll, fuck it. I'm going to use, I believe I can use, I guess I can't use meta magic again though, right?
You can use meta magic again, but if you're going to use the bonus action one, you can only cantrip now.
Okay.
Or wait, not even, I don't think. Now that I actually understand how spells work, I'm pretty sure you can, no, yeah, you can only cantrip, sorry.
Yeah, alright. I will cantrip just for shits and giggles.
Yeah, so make sure you spend one more point.
Yep. I just gotta figure out what I want to hit him with. and it's too far away, so I'm not gonna really hit him with anything. So yeah, I'll just spend movement to get close to him.
Let me just see if Quicken Spell actually lasts. Sorry, we're learning what a sorcerer does at high level now. So when you, yeah, it's okay. It's only one time the Quicken Spell lasts. So yeah, I guess you're out of range. You can move in though, so you can levitate towards it, and then I believe some cantrips have 120-foot range, which is, yeah, I'm gonna say you can get in movement of it with Firebolt at its maximum range.
Yeah, I'll throw a firebolt at it. Then I'll use that spell point.
Yep. Perfect. 24, I believe, hits this thing. It's crazy that I have to check, but yeah, it hits.
It's like so big. How am I gonna miss it? That's
fire hits it and has 0 effect on it. It's immune to fire.
Okay.
All right. Thorvin, the stone giant, would normally be up, but as Warrendale has now realized, he is kind of a different entity right now, so it does nothing. Octavius Wren, you're feeling the ground shake and tremble, and then suddenly the sun is blotted out as there's now this larger-than-life stone giant standing in front of you.
How far away is Octavius from this guy?
He's probably like 140 feet.
All right, so I'm gonna move up about 20 feet just because that's fun for me.
Yep.
And then he said fire is completely. I would notice that Warrendale's spell hits him and really has no effect, because it would be hard to miss a spell like that.
Yep.
Especially from above me, so that's not gonna do shit. Fuck it. I'm gonna actually hit. I'll possibly hit Crusader's Mantle.
Okay. And
Crusader's Mantle will, I'll put that in the spell. But it'll give me the ability to, everybody around me within 30 feet has an extra 1d4 radiant damage when it hits with a weapon attack. And it's just another aura radiating from me to help people around me.
So I will warn you that if you cast that, your Beacon of Hope will cancel, because they're both concentration.
Yeah, but this one awakens boldness in friendly creatures, so I'm going to want everyone to start fighting now.
Okay.
So now that everybody's not crying and they're in a regular state, I'm going to try to give them a little bit more boldness so that they fight for what's theirs.
All right. So yeah, this Crusader's Mantle imbues out, and your friends feel emboldened, including Sarissa. Ruckliviant, you're now up.
Okay, well,
good luck, sir. What do you do?
Yeah, exactly. Well, Reich would immediately, once noticing that we have a behemoth in front of us, would look back at the two girls that are closest to him and go, I don't think fighting that thing is going to be something that we're going to be very successful with.
We shouldn't have to. That's probably helping us. He's likely to aid us in the fight.
Okay, so then we should still try to discover that other creature, right?
If we can find it, then we can get rid of it. Help to get rid of it.
And I would continue traveling north, where we think that original creature is going.
All right, you begin heading in its direction, looking for it. Make an investigation check. And you can move what, like 180, or you can move 80 feet if you dash?
Yes.
Yeah, so you cut off like half the distance, if not a little bit more than that. And go ahead and make an investigation check as you're running through the streets. All leads that of like this thing's path lead towards this massive statue.
Okay, so at the end of my run, all this happens instantaneously. So
yeah.
I look back at the girls and go, and I just point at the path of it looking like it's going towards that creature.
Yeah.
Just kind of in horror.
And this thing now on its turn stands fully erect in the sky, now hundreds of feet tall, or probably like 100 feet tall or whatever. Just this massive entity. And Livy, you've heard tales of like these walking statues and how they almost destroyed Waterdeep if not for Blackstaff. And then now for centuries the Blackstaff has been passed down in case a dire thing ever happens to Waterdeep and they're needed to be brought back to life. And you see it begin to stand up and it reaches its fist into the sky. And then to your horror, slams it down into the streets of Waterdeep.
On second thought.
As it does, a shockwave, like a bomb, has went off, just ripples through the streets, and buildings and everything is destroyed. It is quite far away from you guys now, but like Liviant, you're going to need to make a dexterity saving throw because you got the closest.
So again, that's with advantage.
Yep.
Dexterity saving throw. Page. There we go. 14.
All right, 14 does not save. A building begins to crumble on you, and this might hurt. Let's see what happens here. Oh wow, that's a terrible roll. Holy shit. 16 damage as a building collapse on you, and you're now restrained.
Shoot.
You'll have to spend your turn digging your way out, or something else will happen.
Rage.
However, you do see, you don't see, but everybody else.
You said 16 damage?
Yes, 16. Yeah, I literally rolled all 2s and 1s.
That's fine. Thank you.
Fine for you. A little disappointing for me.
Not as disappointing as my crit.
Yeah. However, this thing has one more attack. Jesus. Or no, that was only one attack. This thing gets 2 more attacks. So yeah, you just feel this sinking feeling in your stomach, Livy, as you were told that these things are now defenders of Waterdeep, and then with that sickening blow, like a shockwave, buildings in an instant are just decimated. Clearly something must be wrong, and then again, it raises its fist up, and in it is just buildings of rubble, and then it, like an artillery strike, just hurls it off, not at you, but in your direction. And everybody else, including Warrendale, Octavio, Sarissa, and you have to make a dexterity saving throw as the shrapnel of building is just chucked towards you. 13 does not succeed.
Come on, Livy.
I'll make Sarissa's. That's a little better damage. Sarissa gets a natural 20. You two fail and take a full 25 damage. Sarissa takes half of that. And yeah, you're now completely convinced that something is horribly wrong and this thing is not on your side. You also see that its face now has completely shifted from the walking statue's face of this bearded wise man. It now looks like the face of the stone giant, and it is yelling out in giant for an entity called Cathilica. And it says, "Cathilica, I will stop you from freeing the Dream Devourer." Only Octavios and Sarissa understand this, and it is no longer up. But to your probably joy, you do see that other entities of Waterdeep are springing into action. Like, this is a city of like hundreds of thousands of people. It's not just you fighting it. And now you see like hordes of wizards now floating in the skies, batting this thing down with magical spells. In particular, Livy, give me a perception check.
Sure thing. Perception. She's still pretty much in shock.
Yep, just a bunch of wizards flying around up there. Nobody noteworthy at all. What do you do?
Well, convinced that this statue majigger thing, and I I'm guessing with that same perception, she would not even know the Dreamwalker. So she's just going to take aim on that with her. And please let. How about lightning? 1.
Natural, or wait, 1? Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry. 1 roll for 10 and.
And this is lightning damage?
Yes.
Lightning does get through, and both those hit.
Sweet. And 7, so 17 points of
17
damage.
points, nice.
And it's just like, yeah, maybe it's not on our side because, yep.
Because of things.
Don't worry, guys. Well, things are really bad, so that's probably why that's there. Never mind. Things are really bad.
So sorry, before you went and started firing things off, you do see one unidentifiable wizard or caster, a female one. You can't tell because she's so far away, and she is casting high level magic at her. It's like let me see here. It wouldn't be that. It's a make an Arcana check. Anyone who's proficient in Arcana. So Warrendell also.
Not proficient.
Warrendell recognizes it. And if you're not proficient, don't worry about it. But Warrendell sees a prismatic spray, which is a very high level magic, just cast out at this thing, and it just like bombards it with multicolored rays of light that begin breaking forth pieces of it, trying to get control of it. Whoever this is, Warrendell, they're very strong. Livy, anything else on your turn?
Let's keep moving, I guess. We might as well go in towards if we want to try and better assist, but this is not looking good. And
Sarissa is saying that now emboldened by Crusader's mantle, she is saying that it doesn't know what it's doing. It's speaking to its god. Scoreus is the god of stone giants, and Cathilica is a giant lord of the stone giants. It thinks that it's battling her. I must do something. Look at the destruction it's causing. This is to you, Livy.
I mean, I just worry that they're gonna, like, yeah, maybe you are probably the best one in your position to do something, but at the same time, you're likely to have a big target on you because of the chaos, and now you're gonna be another giant appearing. But if you think this is best, I'm not going to stop you.
She looks to
Because at
you.
the same time, you might be the only one who can do something immediate.
And says that you are her trusted knight. She is now in a strange world that she does not understand. It is your advisement on what is the best measure here. But in this current form, there is little I can do.
can I, as a player, do an insight check for Olivia in the sense of like having her like really assess whether she should just full-heartedly convince her to go this way, or if she does deep down go that would hinder.
Yeah, go ahead and make an insight check.
Alright. Hey, that's really
25. So, from that, you know that she believes that she can stop this thing, which obviously, as seconds go by, this thing is just decimating Waterdeep. But you also know, with the current state of world affairs and the outlook on giants, that if a giant queen just showed up and started controlling this thing or even making its presence known, you have a strong feeling that a lot of people wouldn't take kindly to that. And it's going to look very incriminating. You know that tensions are high just from spending 30 minutes in the crowd, the lineup of Q. Nobody has good feelings towards giants right now. Thousands of people have lost families and everything.
Then yeah, Livy's like, I believe you can do this, but now is not the time.
All right.
Pass it forward.
Then she stands down and waits helplessly, hoping that you guys have something. Another wizard flying in the sky. Nobody has identified her yet, but there's another female, and it is going to begin casting a spell. Arcana check from Warrendell. This is a spell that not even he understands, as it begins going through a ritual in the sky. You don't know what it's doing, but it's not going to end this turn. Warrendale, you're now up. As you see all of these entities, powerful black robes of Waterdeep. He too is from Waterdeep, so he knows of the black robes, and he knows of the powerful people here. Clearly, I imagine what he's thinking is that somebody can stop this. There is way more powerful individuals in Waterdeep than him, so he would know that. Up to you what he does with that. And you're on mute.
Yeah, just sorry about that. At this point, Warren would realize that he hasn't had much effect on this thing. He feels as though it's, kind of pointless even trying to fight. He's going to turn his concentration more on the people and everything else. So he's just go back down to the group, and Warren would say to Livy and the princess, we should get Rick Liviant and Octavius and go. At least get out of the way, do what we can for the people, but allow the black robes to fight this thing.
All right.
And that's really all he's gonna do. He's just gonna be like, can you get to the rocks that are covering Rick Liviant?
Yeah, he can head in that direction, but I'm pretty sure that levitate is pretty slow, and
Okay.
And he booked it with his full movement. So let me just double check here. Levitate. Yeah, you move 20 feet, so you're moving pretty slow with levitate. However, I do believe does he have fly? Because fly's a lot faster.
No.
No, he doesn't have fly. So yeah, you're kind of just slowly gliding through the air if you keep up the levitate.
Well, since I'm heading back towards the ground, I'm gonna levitate, and then I'll pause, levitate, and then catch myself until I hit the ground.
Yep. I'll even say that you can, within reason, end the levitate or a little bit early, and then just kind of come down to the ground, 3-point land, and begin running over to Liviant. But your turn will end with you on the outskirts of not even being engaged. But next turn, you can use a movement to be there with him.
Okay.
Octavius Ren, you're up next, and it looks like any second now, precisely 2 turns away, this walking statue is going to do something again. You now see that the sky is littered with black robes trying to battle this thing, and they're just firing off blasts of magic, and it's just like a sky of illuminating effects, more magic than you've probably ever seen. You see guards running through the streets trying to save civilians, trying to head towards it. It's just absolute chaos as you Waterdeep, just so heavily dense in population, so much chaos, so much suffering. What do you do?
He as well is gonna try to start moving towards helping Rick Liviant. And really just how far this thing is. He's gonna cast. Are there people between us and this thing all the way up to it?
Yeah, this is a metropolis like no other. So yeah, there's buildings. Although the shockwave of its punch has basically just nuked the area forward, but you see people just coming out of the rubble, screams, crying, people trying to pull others from collapsed buildings, injured people with just badly broken arms, missing limbs. Just it's like a bomb went off in World War II or something. It's just horrifying.
So yeah, I'll just be Octavius will start tending to the hurt that are coming. Just doing whatever he can to give them a hand, getting them out and getting them safe. Other than that, He'll be concentrating on Livy and the princess.
All right. Liviant, you're buried beneath the rubble. You take a total of 12 damage, bludgeoning as you're being crushed beneath the rubble. Not sure if you're raging or not, so I don't know if that's halved, but
Not yet.
all right. So you take 12 damage full, and what do you do on your turn? You can you're obviously restrained, so you need to use an action to bust out, or you can do something while restrained. I don't really know if you have any crazy abilities, but you probably want to get out.
Well, yeah, I'm going to rage at this point, and that's going to give me advantage on any strength saving throws, and I would like to use athletics to get myself out of there if I can.
Yep, go ahead and try. Should be able to for sure without advantage.
Yes.
Hey.
Well, I guess I don't have to roll advantage.
Yeah, no, you look like a badass. You just literally like break out in a roar, and then like a shockwave comes off you as the building just kind of like erupts around you. Your muscles are just bulging. You yell out in anger as you just kind of like disintegrate the building around you in your ferocious rage.
Yeah.
I'm going to say with a natural 20, you actually don't even spend your action doing that. So you still have an action.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And he looks up, and how far is this creature away from him?
So you did 80 feet. You were 140 feet away. So what is that? That should be really easy math, but I'm stupid. So 60-ish feet away.
Okay. That's that. Okay. I am going to run forward about 30 feet.
Okay.
And I am going to throw a javelin.
All right.
At this thing. Whilst I'm raging. It's a 23 to hit.
Hits.
Okay. Right, so it's 10 damage. The good old
piercing damage.
Yeah, good old ancestors start crawling all over him like a crazy person.
So, is it magical by any means, or?
No, the only thing I have magical is the axe.
Then it's completely immune to your piercing damage, unfortunately.
But it still hit it.
Yeah, still hit it, absolutely.
Okay. So, so the ancestors, again, start coming out of the ground, are attacking it as well.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, I am going to negate my second attack, and I'm actually going to. I have 10 more movement, so I'm moving back towards the group.
Okay.
And I will end my movement there.
All right. So yeah, your ancestors begin running forth, kind of like a rallying war cry. They begin going through the debris and rubble of buildings, charging forth towards this gargantuan statue that is just destroying everything. It's now up, and it takes. Go ahead.
Chris, I actually don't want to move. I want to stay where I was.
30 feet away, you stand forth, holding your weapon to the sky, cheering for your ancestors to charge forth and bring down this mighty foe. It rallies up, and as wizards are just bombarding it, it's going to take a pretty sizable amount of damage. But in the grand scheme of things, this thing isn't even remotely like slowing down. I will tell you that straight up. It took this is kind of meta actually, so I probably shouldn't tell you, but it took a lot of damage.
Yeah.
Of just magical spells, and still it's not any sign of slowing down. And as these wizards are turning, it looks and it speaks and says again, Octavius, you're the only one that hears it, and it says that I must return home and stop Catholica. And then it rallies up a punch, just pulling it back, and then woof, it blackens out the sky, and then a scream of horror, and then mist begins to rain down on you guys, and the sky is just lit up with this red raining mist, and you look up, and like dozens of the wizards battling it were just turned into red raining blood that now kind of just comes raining down on top of you guys with one attack. It lifts up again and slams into it, and just like that, in an instant, 2 attacks, 6 seconds, like dozens of people were just killed. The unidentifiable wizard is now up, and it is going to cast a spell. And let me do this. I guess you can cast Arcana if you want as a reaction, Warrendell.
Okay.
I shouldn't have let you do it twice. 19 is just enough. That's kind of crazy. To realize that this is some of the most powerful magic you have ever even dreamed of hearing of. It's more fabled than anything, but from what you heard, the spell that's going forth and channeling, I don't even know if you'd actually hear this. But basically what happens is you blink, Warrendell blinks his eyes, and then everything before him is different. The wizards are all in different kind of positions, and it's as if in an instant so much has changed. And with a 19, you know that is a spell the likes of which like only archmages and like the most powerful of wizards could imbue. You don't even really fully understand what it was, but you like blink, and then suddenly where all the individual, like just the battlefield itself has completely changed, and the walking statue is more injured than it was before, and it's as if like time went on without you. Livy, you're now up.
All right. So, Livy would agree with Tavios that like trying to make our way away or something might be the best because it's just really heat and whatnot. But she's still going to pew pew in the hopes to aid somehow from a distance.
Hit.
19.
What kind of damage are you doing?
Lightning again.
All right, stick with what you know. 1 attack hits, 1 misses.
No, that was damage.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, that hits then, and that hits.
Awesome. So 12 and 7 for 19.
And 19 more damage. This thing is now bloodied. Although you get the same like disorienting effect, Livy. Like you were trying to load up your bow, and then as you look at it, the thing's like standing there, basically unflinched. And then suddenly you look at it, and it looks completely different. The wizards above you are in completely different positions, and the statue itself looks badly beat down, and it's like, wait a second, what just happened? Something. Okay. And yeah, it's now bloodied.
Effective.
Yeah.
Lightning.
Yeah. Lightning is really good, guys.
Pretty much like, I must have hit a sweet spot.
Sarissa now is just looking on in horror. She's just covered in the blood of the wizards that were just momentarily turned into mist, and a tear kind of comes up into her eyes as she just says that this is so much senseless violence. I must reach out to it, Livy.
I hear you.
Next up is the unidentifiable wizard. No one's really paying enough attention to them. There's 2 wizards up there. Both are female that are obviously leaps and bounds ahead of the other in abilities, and you begin to see this rune around her as she's casting some kind of ritual. There's these glowing glyphs and whatnot, and chains are beginning to form around her. These magically glowing radiant chains that are just like she's casting a spell, and when you last looked at her, there was basically like maybe 1 or 2 links, and now as you look at her, anyone that's paying attention, there are several links that are beginning to like form around her. Warrendale, you're now up.
I think can we easily move through the crowd as the crowd started to surround us, or are they starting to disperse from around
Yeah,
us?
there's not much crowd. Anyone that is alive still is like doing their darndest to run away from this.
How far is this thing from Warrendale? Still like 200 yards?
No, this thing from Warrendale now is like 60 feet away.
Alright. I'm gonna Warrendale will look at it. Realize, still made of stone. Still pointless to try to attempt anything, but has to at least look like he's trying to help. He's gonna cast Shatter at level 4.
Alright. Is that Constitution?
Yep.
Alright, at advantage because of magical resistance. Natural 20 and a natural 1, so it succeeds.
So it takes half of 41 damage. No,
20.
that was the wrong dice. Sorry, wrong dice.
No worries.
Half of 20 is 10 damage.
10 damage, and that's thunder damage, right?
Yeah, it's does it say 3d8 thunder damage? Yeah.
That actually goes through fully, though. Alright, anything else on his turn?
No, he's just trying to edge everybody farther away so that this next resounding pound doesn't have any damage to us.
Yeah, and as you send forth a blasting, shattering spell, Morindel's nose begins to bleed as he's giving it everything he has. And basically a huge chunk of this thing's chest just falls forth and breaks forth as it shatters. And as it does shatter, it rains down into the debris below and just like further, like as this thing is falling apart, it's destroying what's beneath it. Although it's already rubble, it's just like this thing's existence is just pure destruction as Octavius is now up.
Octavius will look to Warren, see that it has some form of effect, and he'll cast Shatter at level 5.
Hey, alright. Saving throw. We already know how this works.
My DC con's not that big.
Okay. It rolled fucking a natural 20 again.
Okay, so 1 second. And then I still have one more after this. So half of 22 is 11.
11 damage. Alright. You guys have at least bloodied this thing. As Regliviant, you're now up 30 feet away as you watch your ancestrals charge forth and begin engaging on this thing. What do you do?
Okay, so my crew is behind me, right?
Okay, yeah,
At this
if that's
point.
where you want them, for sure.
Yeah. Well, yeah. He's not going to think that he can go mano a mano with this thing. So, he is going to kind of move back towards where his crew is.
Okay.
And is going to on the run throw another javelin
Alright.
so that I am still keeping my rage up.
You hit, although we obviously know it's immune to that kind of damage,
Yeah.
but at least you keep your rage going.
Right, so the rage is going. And yeah.
Alright. This thing begins to act again. And this time it rears its head towards, let me just see here. Ba-ba-bum. It begins to spin around, and there's this golden-haired wizard and then the dark-haired wizard, the two girls that are obviously doing the most here. Or I guess you don't really know what the one is doing, but it's obviously high-level magic that Warrendale can attest to. And it spins around and goes to punch at the golden-haired caster in the sky. There's not very many. Before there was hordes of wizards. Now there's maybe 30 or 40 left. And there's just this beaming light, this almost silvery kind of glow around the one golden hair. Her eyes are completely imbued in light, and she's just there channeling powerful magic that's just shooting forth from her. The giant spins around and punches as hard as it can into this wizard. You momentarily would think that it would be destroyed, and as it is punching, it's like destroying wizards along the way. But then suddenly the loudest kind of thunderous boom that you've ever heard just erupts from its fist, and you begin to see its hand just sitting there crumbling around. And as it pulls its hand back, there's just this hole in its knuckles. Its middle finger and its ring finger are now missing. And the golden-haired wizard still stands there with this aura of magic around her. It spins around again, and I'm going to need a dexterity saving throw from you guys as it just launches debris in your direction. Ain't nobody made it so far.
If you could start attacking us with like attacks, that'd be great.
You're unfortunately not engaged in it. So only Liviant makes the save, and this attack I finally rolled good. If you didn't make it, you take 42 points of damage. If you did make it, half of that, so 21. As like buildings, like literally whole buildings are just chucked in your direction. This thing is now entering the critical state, but as it begins to fall apart, worsening and worsening, every time it does fall apart, it's just more and more destruction. As like an arm now breaks forth, as it's pulling its arm back from the punch of the wizard, its knuckle falls away and falls onto more undamaged building, and then its arm gives way, its wrist falls into the city, destroying a temple. And as it's pulling its arm back and its arm's falling apart from punching into the wizard, just more and more debris is raining on to Waterdeep and destroying it. This, now that we're on to that, you begin to see the black-haired wizard, which I'm going to just say Livy, now that you've spent enough time in combat watching them go. You're like, hey, wait a second. That girl, the glowing silver hair, it couldn't possibly be. And then, yeah, you put it together after enough time. I think I already have her shown anyways. It's L'Oreal Silverhand. I probably bombed that. But basically, the Open Lord of Waterdeep. She's an arch wizard and one of the most powerful individuals in Waterdeep. And she is currently casting another high-level prismatic spray into this entity and bursting it down. What do you do, Livy, as you've barely even seen the Open Lord of Waterdeep, let alone seen her in combat. This is the wizarding that you like didn't even, it's like legendary.
I imagine she's definitely one of Livy's idols and whatnot, just like, holy crackers, yeah, I'm gonna shoot another few things at. This lightning's working great, and if anything, if she ever has the opportunity to meet her person, she'd be like, yeah, I totally help you take down that, you know. And remember that one fight with the giants and the big statue majigger that came to life?
Yeah, hit.
Yeah, I helped take it. I helped you there. I was there, yeah. And so I think that 19 misses.
19 hits.
Oh,
This thing's
sweet.
not hard to hit. It's just massive.
Cool. And 14 lightning piercing comes that way, and she goes, we should be in good hands, everybody. I'm feeling a lot more confident and safe again. Although, still really weird that this statue's animated.
And then since we've spent several rounds in combat, more rounds than you guys actually realize due to magical abilities, you recognize the secondary black figure as... Wait a second, she's wielding this black obsidian staff. No, it possibly couldn't be. But yes, it is Viraja Saphir, the black staff itself, the leader of the black robes, and another incredibly powerful wizard of Waterdeep. And she is currently in the middle of an imprisonment spell and moments away from successfully casting it, as chains now are imbuing around her, and these radiant chains are beginning to grow and swarm and snake out in different directions and head towards the walking statue. But she needs a couple more rounds before she finishes it. You just know that as long as these two individuals stand, Warrendell, they are way more powerful wizards than you could hope to be, so it's probably important that they survive.
Warren. Am I on mute?
Nope, you're good.
Okay. Warren is going to bonus action using tempestuous magic, and basically small little gusts of wind are going to start swirling around Warren, and they're going to pick him up about 10 feet off the ground without provoking opportunity attacks. And what he's going to do is he's going to look towards, away from the city. He's going to look towards the line of giants that are probably still slowly coming towards the city, as that is the main assault, and this thing is just their hero. And will you see any other stone giants out there?
You're on the inside of the walls now, but as you look behind, you don't see any stone giants coming forth.
Alright, so basically I'm going to just grab onto Sarissa as I touch back down to the ground, and I'm going to look to the group and say, we must save the city, or at least any part of the city that we can, and find us when this is over. We will be outside the city walls. And he's going to cast Dimensional Door, and he's going to bring Sarissa 500 feet. Wait, am I casting the right spell? No, I'm not casting the right spell. Am I? Yeah. Is it this one? Yeah, range is 500 feet. I'm going to bring us about 500 feet outside of the city walls, just in case Sarissa needs to retake giant form to stop the rest of the stone giants from attacking this
Okay, you grab onto her, dimension door out, and then bamf, you're 500 or more feet. You don't need to go 500 feet, but you can go 500 feet if you want to. But
I want to go like far enough so that if she does have to take on giant form, there's not going to be many other townsfolk around her.
Yeah, and you bamf out through the dimensional door, and as you get to the outskirts, to Sarissa's horror, she sees that all the stone giants are now kneeled in obedience, as if they're in prayer. None of them are doing anything, and you just see the remaining Lord's Alliance just butchering them one by one, taking them down.
Warren would ask her, what in the world is happening?
And they're mumbling in giant, and she would just say that they are saying that Scoreus has risen to save the dream world. Doesn't really make much sense, but
yeah, he would just like to in confusion.
But yeah, one by one, the stone giant incursion has apparently stopped, as they're now all just kneeled in prayer. As you look back, you see the walking statue just destroying everything in its path, obviously, but these stone giants have stopped their assault, and they're being murdered. That'd probably be the end of Warrendell's turn, which puts Octavius up.
Okay. Octavius is still just going to be dealing with as many of the crowd as he can.
Octavius, you, without much knowledge, would know that this statue is about to go down But as you're watching it begin to crumble, you know that when it does go down, it is going to cause a lot of destruction. And you still see that there is people within the radius of it trying to escape.
I don't know if there's anything I can do.
But worse is you know that it's going to get to probably act before it does go down. So you're kind of faced with the decision. Try and take it down and stop it from destroying things, or let it destroy things and let the wizard finish it off. Like, no matter what, Octavio sees no way to like save obviously everyone. Like, there's already too much has been done, so it's your decision whether you try to assault this thing. It is very close to going down, but you know that bringing it down is going to just cause a lot of destruction, but it also is going to act soon.
All right, the only thing that Octavius can even think of, and it's probably not going to work, but I'm going to cast Wall of Fire. And I don't know if I can surround the giant statue with it, but basically the only thing that I want this Wall of Fire to do is to act like the Earth's atmosphere, and any stones or debris that's being cast out from the center of where this thing is that has to go through the wall will hopefully get ground up or destroyed or broken up just enough so that when it gets to our side of the wall, it won't hurt the people as much.
All right, you do that. Channeling forth the power of Ilmater, a giant 60-foot long wall and 20-foot high, 1-foot thick wall of fire erupts around, causing this fiery shield before the civilians and this giant that's about to go down at any moment. Right, Liviant, what do you do?
Well, I was going to go attack it, but now there's a firewall around it. I don't think I can do that. So, yeah, I'm gonna just start ushering as many of the commoners as I can away from the area. I would meet up with Livy because I'm assuming that she'll help me do that. And yeah, I mean, he's doing that, and he knows that his rage is going to subside. But yeah, that is what he's going to spend his turn doing.
All right.
Getting everybody away as far as he can.
You get civilians out as this thing, in a last desperation attempt, tries to stop Blackstaff from casting her imprisonment. The first attack goes through and it hits. She is going
So
to...
is that an attack?
Against Blackstaff. But yes.
Okay. Are the Blackstaff within 30 feet of me?
Maybe. Roll me a... What makes sense here? Just to see. I wish there was like some kind of luck. Well, charisma. No, charisma doesn't make sense. Roll me a roll me a d20.
Actually, don't worry about it. I can't do it because I'm not reading.
Okay, cool.
Yep, don't worry about it.
Does she have what I think she would have? No.
Because I could have stopped the damage by 3d6, but it doesn't matter.
It's going to land its first strike, doing 30 damage to her. Jesus Christ. Okay, and she's going to make a Constitution saving throw. Holy fuck, she rolled a natural 20 and somehow remains concentrated on that spell. That's impressive. Then it punches at her again, this time rolling an 18, and she can reactionary shield that one. So she still stands, and her voice booms out that I command you, statue, defender of Waterdeep, cease this attack! And she slams her staff into the air. The chains begin to ripple out and start to engulf around its arm and rile up. And then Silverhand is going to cast another spell at it. And... what can she even do? So many things and stuff. But another blast of magic shoots forth from her, and she has enough to definitely finish it off. The thing was actually incredibly close to death. However, as she does finish it off, I need Octavios, Livy, Sarissa, actually all of you to make a dexterity saving throw.
Yay.
Don't forget about the wall, even if it does anything at all.
Yep, it will do some stuff.
Hey, that rhymed and I didn't even.
Who's getting knocked out?
Hey, Livy bombed that. I mean, killed that dexterity saving throw.
Like all the other two, she's failed. It's like, oh, you gotta be kidding me.
Mm-hmm. So as it crumbles forth, it does begin to rain destruction. But as it starts passing through the wall of fire, it's going to cut that damage already down to 22. And then if you succeeded on a dexterity saving throw, this is actually a really high dexterity saving throw. Only Livy makes it. So Livy takes half of 22, and then everybody else takes 22 damage. But the wall of fire cut the damage in half already, so it just sends the remaining fiery rebel forth as it begins crumbling down, and just like a shadow of debris begins raining over Waterdeep, further destroying it. Obviously, unfortunately, a couple of people are taken down, but you guys have taken measures to save as many people as you possibly can.
Octavius is down.
Octavius is down. Oh, dang. All right, then that puts us in initiative order still. Livy, you look around as that's like a smoke cloud of debris is just riddled through the city. You hear screams and the ringing, coughing. You look around and it's hard to see anybody, but you call out for your friends. Sarissa answers. What do you do?
Make sure she's okay, help her up, help immediate party members up if they've been knocked down, and certainly scanning around where it's like wait, no, though, didn't Tavios open up a dimension door?
No, Warrendale did.
Warrendale, and so he went outside. But is it still open for us to go through?
Nope.
No,
Warren Dimension Doors a one-way ticket kind of thing.
Instantaneous.
Yeah, so I guess thinking about that, she would want to help aid in like let's keep moving away or whatnot. Or even Tavius just kind of like do you think that would be a good time to see if you can find your friend?
Yeah, and I said you reached out to Sarissa, but you don't even see Sarissa, actually. She's gone far away. So, yeah, you're actually looking for anybody, and you see...
And the person she sees is me.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, you see like, Livia,
so, yeah. Yeah. You okay? Okay. And...
Where's Octavius?
Octavius, doesn't your ring take effect again?
Around...
Yeah, it would be another day, so my ring would wake me up, I guess.
Maybe. I think you have to roll a religion check.
I gotta roll a 20, I guess, don't I?
And Tavios is with us, right?
Yeah, you're looking around for him as he rolls his, the one who endures, and see if the ring of suffering helps him. Natural 1, you don't even get, so yeah, you're actually down. You're unconscious. And you're looking for Octavios, and Reglivian's there. You know Warrendale and Sarissa bamfed away. You don't see Octavios. You don't know where he is. There's debris everywhere. You can make an investigation check for him if you want.
Yeah, I really don't know where Octavios is.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Did he make it? Did he go? He must have gone with Warren. And Cersei.
Sarissa drops down to her knees as she sees more blood and carnage from both sides of the field as she witnesses the war and the effects of the ordering being shattered. She just reaches out as she watches the last stone giant's head be decapitated off its body and just whispers to herself, "Please, stop. You don't understand." And Warrendale, you're up next.
Okay, are there any other stone giants alive?
Negatory.
Alright. Warren will just turn to Sarissa. This is not what we wanted you to come to. but this is what's happening. We need to fix the ordning. We need to make this all right.
And she's down on her knees, and she's shaking her head. Her hair is kind of falling in front of her face, but she's shaking her head in agreement. Also injured. Luckily, she didn't actually break polymorph, so I don't even know if she could have to read the spell that she has on her, but she's still in her human form. Octavios, or is Warrendale do anything besides that?
No.
Okay.
No.
Do you begin heading back into town, knowing that things are over?
Oh, there, yeah.
Yeah. So you begin heading back in, looking to where your friends are. Octavios, you need to make a death saving throw. 1 success. Right, Liviant. Livy is looking around for Octavius.
Yeah, I would definitely be helping her.
All right, make an investigation check or perception, whatever you prefer.
They're the same. Wow.
There's just a lot of rubble and death and bodies.
Okay. Hold on. See if these abilities help me. All right. I am going to, after not seeing him, I'm going to activate Radiant Soul.
Okay.
Which for a minute I can fly, so on and so forth, all the extra damage and so on and so forth.
Yep.
But I'm going to take to the sky and see if I can see him any better from that. And then on my next turn, obviously, I can't do that now.
Yep. Livy, you're up again, and you're beginning to worry if something bad has happened to Octavios. He would have answered by now. He would have been doing something about this.
Yeah. She's gonna give it another shot to see if she can spot him, but
You're having a hard time.
trying hard, really. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. He must be gone before him because I do not see him.
Sarissa's going to check, and she rolled a 18, luckily. Over here. Oh, wait, no. She's not. Fuck, she's not there. They run back into town. Octavios, you're in trouble, dude. You're in trouble. Warrendale, you guys are heading back into town. What is Warrendale doing? You literally traveled like 100 and some feet, so unless you guys are like running for some reason, it's going to take Warrendale a couple turns to get back into town. You're muted.
Yeah, we feel like the sorcerers are good and probably saw the crumbling of the thing. Warrendale believes that Octavius is probably helping with the crowds. There's no reason. They're just having a conversation. Warrendale's probably even trying to hit on her a little bit. Who knows?
Yeah, that sounds about right. There's a lot of destruction and carnage around, though, as Sarissa is just shell-shocked and horrified. Octavios, another death saving throw.
Oh,
one fail and one success. Right, Livians.
All right. So I am going to try again. See
Out
if
of
we can find
advantage.
this guy.
Out of advantage.
Okay.
Imagine this is how the paladin dies or the cleric dies.
Yeah.
Oh my god. You guys are really beginning to worry. You cannot find. It's been 3 rounds now.
There's dust and snow and chaos everywhere. Of course, we're having a hard time finding our partner only 10 feet away.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Oh, goodness.
Okay. About that.
Livy.
Livy gets a creative idea. She's gonna cast Dancing Lights because obviously they need a little extra light.
Advantage.
Awesome. All right. Advantage on this. Come on. Yay, 16.
You see an arm of Octavius in the rubble. Now like 20 feet away from you.
There. That looks familiar. Hurries over, and seeing that he's knocked out, if there's any debris or whatnot that got him, should carefully take it off and just like shoot.
So yeah, he's pretty buried. And it's gonna take like your full action to like begin to uncover him.
Yeah.
Which means he needs to make a death saving throw. Which means if he rolls a natural 1, he's dead. So don't roll a natural 1. As I'm
I will
imagining.
give him advantage if you can have it.
Warrendale and Sarissa, we're going to assume, is walking towards you guys for the next 2 rounds. So, Octavius, go ahead and make a death saving throw.
Yeah, man. You just mentioned that natural 1 again before I do it, though, okay?
Yeah, I know. I like putting the bad mojo on you. 2 saves and 1 success. Right, Livian, you see Livy down on her
So
knees.
I fly out to where they are, and I go. I will use healing hands, and he gets 10 hit points.
You breathe back to consciousness as we have a scare there.
Yes, and
Livy is trying to lift this massive rock off.
The big radiant
Yeah,
wings
and
of Raglivian touch down, and then you see his hand glowing on the chest of Octavius. Light then sinks into his chest plate, and an air exhales from his lungs as Octavius is brought back to life.
Hey, man.
yeah, and just above you, all you see is this Rake with all of his magnificence and white robes and such, and
The angel don't matter.
yeah, with the big wings. I don't know what that looks like to Octavius, but he does like the forearm handshake thing and helps Octavius back to his feet and says, "Never good when the one that heals goes down. Stay back with us, my friend." And he snaps him on his shoulders a couple of times.
You see Warrendale come around the debris and
was
dust
crazy.
with Sarissa kind of in his arms as he looks to you guys and asks if everyone's all right.
Mostly had
All
to
good.
save him.
I was taking a nap.
What do you guys do? We're gonna end soon, but
Yeah.
I'm just gonna cast a healing spell on myself real quick.
all right.
Or, ooh, I don't even know how much. I bet you it's gonna be huge. Give me a second to find out how much. Bam, 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 bam. 5 times clear, so 50 points of healing.
Dang. You feeling good?
Yeah, I'm feeling better. Okay, well, I told you all that we really didn't need to go inside the walls to get a hold of Saul. And with all these people around, I'm not going to call him here, so maybe we should take a nap or a rest or something, maybe help some people. You guys rest while I start healing people.
Yeah. I'll help make people comfortable.
At least we're here, and Reich would help with any of the helping of the locals, and would be using his strength to do so.
All right. And as you guys begin to kind of disperse around and get ready to help, you see kind of like flooding around from the alleyways that are left behind you, a couple of black-robed individuals. And your first thought is that it's probably the city's defense. But as you look at them, they're all wearing masks of a fanged creature, lizard-ish or reptilian kind of in nature. And these black robes begin to just surround the party, and then coming forth on I forget what the actual technical name of it is, but it's one of those things that you carry kind of like a noble person on. There's like 2 people grabbing the front of it and 2 people grabbing the back, and there's just like this chair, this kind of gazebo like thing being carried by a couple of these black robed individuals. And you see this very plumped individual wearing a golden fanged mask of what looks like a dragon. Warrendale's hair began to stand up on the back of his neck as he hears a voice call out, "Well, well, well, who do we have here?" And
What?
as you guys are completely surrounded, with these golden mask individuals. Livy, I'm going to say without a history check, because if I ask you to make it, you're probably going to fail it, and it'll be awkward. You recognize this as one of the masked lords of Waterdeep, the Fanged Lord. And Warrendell, that voice sounds quite familiar. That is where we will end the session, and we will take place what happens next in the next session, which hopefully isn't a bajillion months away from now. I am going to try to end the recording, which hopefully goes smoother than starting the recording. So let's try this process, everybody.
Enlarge my screen. We'll just have Apollo.
Cheers, everybody. Thank you for watching.